Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. There we go. Hey guys, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get started for you here in about 6 minutes. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast continues. Got me for the first half hour, and that will be followed by AWR Hawkins from Breitbart News, and we've got a solid 1 hour with Jared Yanis from Guns and Gadgets coming in, and then followed by a classic roundtable with Parkland combat vet and former law enforcement officer and founder of Lead Slingers Whiskey, Brad Primo. They'll all be here, and we're ready to rock and roll. Got a lot to cover with you tonight. Buckle in. It's going to move quick. See you in just a few minutes on the radio. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, share, spread, join, subscribe to us over on YouTube. We would really appreciate that. We need your help. We're growing fast over there, and we need your help to continue to do that. And make sure you hit that notification bell so when the shorts go up, putting a couple videos out a day for you, at least 2, sometimes 3, one short, one full-length video. Make sure to get notified, okay? Ring that little bell. It's easy to do. We'd appreciate that much. Got a couple new sponsors we're going to introduce in the second segment today. Some great companies, great products. Only the best of the best comes on Armed American Radio, folks. So stay tuned with us. We'll see you in about 5 minutes. And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast begins. If you're watching on your devices, your screens, your TVs, whatever it is, YouTube, X, man, we appreciate it very much. Please comment over on YouTube. We'd love you watching us over on YouTube. Greg will tell you how to do all that fun stuff in just a moment. Group studios on hundreds of radio stations around the nation and live streaming the national radio broadcast for you. And Greg in Dallas, Texas, how you doing today, brother? Welcome back, man. Welcome back.
Thank you, man. I'm doing pretty good. It's been a beautiful week here in DFW. A little rain, but it was welcomed. So.
Yeah, well, you sent it our way, so. You know,
yeah, it's headed your way, definitely.
That's okay. Scared my dog for a couple days, but that's okay. Hey, would you be kind enough to tell people where they can watch the show, get involved in the chat, and all that fun stuff? And then I've got some opening comments for the first segment. Then I'm going to introduce two new partners in the second segment of tonight's broadcast. So it's going to be a fun half hour. Go for it.
Yeah, sure. Let's see if I remember how to do this. If you
it hadn't been that long.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to watch the show, just head on over to YouTube, do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. You can also watch us on X over at AAR Mark. Of course, you can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And lastly, if you'd like to join in on our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, and we see your chats on the live stream, guys. We do appreciate that. Let me get cracking here because I've got 9 pages of notes, Greg, and I'm not going to get to all of it. I can promise you I'll get through as much of it as I can. Guys, if you've been listening to the broadcast over the last few days, I've been focusing on some constitutional issues, things. What is Virginia? You got 8 prosecutors in Virginia now. That number might be higher. Forgive me if I'm not up to speed on that yet, but it was last 8 prosecutors saying, no, it's not going to happen. And of course, Connecticut, Governor Lamont just signed a Glock ban in Connecticut on Thursday last week. And we've been tying these things together because it's not just about the gun and the ban. It's about constitutional issues. And if one of the most important lessons I've learned over the last 18 years, nearly 2 decades of doing this show, is that the enemies of our freedoms will never quit. Ryan Petty famously said on the program, he'll be here in the third hour, they never stop. They never surrender, and they never admit defeat. And they're not going to. They just simply find a new way. And if you want proof of that, now we're going to switch from Virginia and Connecticut. I'm going to bring Delaware into this mix because it's all tied together. It's just the way they operate. And there's now a coalition of anti-gun attorneys generals across the state, and I'm going to read you those states, that are rushing to defend Delaware in a Third Circuit case. But I want to take you back briefly for just a moment. Remember the Bruin decision, of course, 2022. Hard to believe it's been 4 years removed. But that was a monumental victory. Or was it? Well, it was. But was it as monumental as we think it was? The Supreme Court finally said what we've been asking them to say for decades, that the Second Amendment is not a second-class right. And it struck down New York's discretionary permit scheme and made clear that ordinary Americans, law-abiding citizens, have a constitutional right to bear arms outside the home for self-defense. That made that clear. Gun owners celebrated, constitutionalists celebrated, we all celebrated, freedom-loving Americans everywhere celebrated. What did the anti-gun crowd do? Did they accept the ruling? No, they didn't accept the ruling. Did they respect the Constitution? Of course they didn't respect the Constitution. They never do. Did they even acknowledge that they lost? No, they did not. They tried to flip it into a victory. They did the same thing with Heller. Crazy how they operate in an upside-down world. But that's because they never do any of these things. It's by design. Instead, they begin searching for new ways to accomplish their same goal, and that goal never changes. The methods change. The targets move, if you will. The language changes because they hijack the language. Think assault weapons in Virginia now, assault firearms bill. The strategy evolves, but the objective always remains the same. And that's more government control. That's more government power. And when that happens, it's less individual freedom. So what are they doing now? Well, in Delaware passed a law requiring citizens, and this is less than a year old, to obtain government permission simply to purchase and possess a firearm. Think Illinois FOID cards, firearms owners' ID cards. Not to carry one, not to conceal one, not to transport one, but to own one. So think about that. And for over 250 years, ladies and gentlemen, Americans have exercised our right to keep and bear arms without that government permission. But now, today's bureaucrats want you to ask permission before you can even exercise the very right itself. But here's where it gets dangerous and where this needs to gain your attention. Because it's not just Delaware. It's not just one rogue state operating on its own. Get this. As I mentioned, 17 17 states' attorneys general plus D.C. have lined up behind Delaware's permit to purchase in defense of it in a brief. 17 states, let's name them. New Jersey. Now think about who controls these states when I run through these for you. New Jersey, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia, Washington State, and of course Delaware itself, and the Attorney General for the District of Columbia, D.C. This is coordinated, folks. It's not random. It's not an accident by any stretch of the imagination. This is a coalition of anti-gun states that are attempting to create, let me phrase it as a roadmap, if you will, for the rest of the country. They're looking at Bruin and they're saying, fine, if we can't stop you from carrying a firearm, maybe we can stop you from even buying one in the first place. So I ask you the question, do you see the game here? And Armed American Radio listeners, you understand that. They can't ban your carry permits outright. 29 states or constitutional carry don't require one. They don't care. They're just going to regulate it. And what are they going to regulate? Your purchase of a firearm. You see how this never stops, ladies and gentlemen. It just creeps. That's why we've been focusing on Virginia. That's why we're focusing on joining groups like AZCDL and VCDL. And coming up now, we're also going to begin talking about Florida carry. Yes, there's threats in Florida too, as there is in Georgia. We've got to stop it now. The fight is in the states. If they can't regulate, think about what they'll do. If they can't regulate purchasing, they'll regulate training. If they can't regulate training, they'll regulate how you store your gun. See Virginia. If they can't regulate storage, they're just going to require you to get insurance. See Southern California. If they can't stop you one way, they're just going to come at you another way because the objective itself never changes, only the method changes. And that's why for years I've told you over and over again that the anti-gun movement here is incredibly creative. Alan Gottlieb said it himself on this program, that their creativity, he said you got to hand it to them, their creativity knows no bounds, and it doesn't. They never stop searching for that next angle, for that next game, that next workaround, that next, what do they call it, loophole, that next excuse, the next common sense restriction. And every single one of these attorneys general, ladies and gentlemen, is telling you exactly what they believe, and you'd better pay attention to them. They believe the government should have the authority to decide whether you are worthy of even exercising a constitutional right, period. Not after you've committed a crime, before you've committed a crime. That's a dangerous precedent in a free society. And they claim, using Bruin, that because the Supreme Court allowed shall issue in Bruin, and there's some nuance there that I don't have time to go into in this segment, but we'll cover it later, likely with Jared Yanis. We're going to be spending a lot of time on this topic. But they claim that because the Supreme Court allowed shall issue permitting systems for carrying firearms, that somehow government should also be allowed to require permits just to purchase and possess those firearms that they've been forced to allow you to carry. See, what they did here is they lost one fight, so now they're trying to stretch the ruling into something that it never was and never was intended to be. The Supreme Court discussed in Bruin carrying firearms in public, ladies and gentlemen, and the anti-gun movement is desperately trying to transform that into permission to regulate possession itself. Here's the troubling part. There's a lot of troubling parts, but this is one of the main focuses. The Delaware law contains language allowing authorities to deny permits based on subjective claims that someone might pose a danger. And that's when that happens, we start entering that realm of discretion again. The very thing Bruin itself was supposed to stop. And this is why I keep telling you about this. It's not about guns. And Glock, this situation in Connecticut, it's not about the brand. It's about power. It's about whether government must respect the limits placed on them by the founders in the form of our Bill of Rights and Constitution. And we don't have time to go into the rest, but I can ask you to apply your free speech rights, your rights to practice whatever religion you want. Can you imagine if all of this that they're doing here in guns and your right to bear arms applied to every other amendment in the Bill of Rights? Ladies and gentlemen, they hate your guts, and their goal is to just expand their power, expand their control, and that's the pattern that they're following. When we come back, We're going to talk about this and a lot of other things throughout the hour. When I come back, I'm going to introduce 2 new sponsors for you.
15.
Be back right after the break. We'll see you on the flip side. Don't go away. Hey, guys, before we come back, honestly, I had 9 pages of notes that I thought I'd be able to get through in that first segment that I didn't even get anywhere near getting close to. I think I only made it through about 4 pages of my notes and the bullet points that I had down. If you want to read about what's happening in Delaware right now, Cam Edwards, and I'll be on Cam and Company tomorrow, by the way. Head over to bearingarms.com and read Cam's piece on it. It came out late today. He and I were talking about it earlier. It's been it's quite a mess up there, but it ties in perfectly with what the Democrats are doing in Virginia and Connecticut. We'll be back in about 15 seconds. We'll just stay here live with you.
Since you're not running the video, you don't need the countdown, but you still want the 30, right?
Yeah, that'll work.
All right.
And you guys could hear Greg there. He's live on his mic. He's glad to be back to work, and we're glad to have him.
Just making sure I got everything right since it changed during the week.
Yeah, and Bobby did a great job, by the way.
As usual.
Oh, and I got to sit in for Andy Hoosier tomorrow. I'll talk about that. I'll stay with the guys for another break.
All right.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. It's great to be with you. Greg, I'm going to spend this segment talking about 2 new partners. You know,
Sure, sounds great.
Greg, you get it. If we don't have sponsors, we don't have a show.
100%.
And these guys are the best of the best, as you know. We keep our partners for a long, long time, and there's a reason for that. And I mean, I've turned down the opportunity to have more partners on the show, simply because in many cases, I hate to say it this way, but some of the stuff's just not good enough to be on the program. And
Yeah.
if I won't wear it, use it, sleep on it, shoot it, own it, drink it, it's not coming on the show. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But I'm going to get personal here for just a second, because Greg, on this program a number of years ago, I've been right up front with you guys from day one. You guys, if you have missed the show, I forget the month it was. It was a bad month for us all the way around. It was March or April. I believe it was April, and I had Kurt Schilling on the program, and Kurt Schilling is the one that mentioned and brought up my wife's breast cancer diagnosis. Greg, that's been 8 years ago, and she's 100% fine now. But for years, after something like that happens in your family, there are certain things that don't go in people's mouths in our house anymore, right?
Sure.
Mama runs the ship, and one of the things that she's been talking about for a long time is water. And guys, what I'm getting ready to tell you happened just over the last 4 days. It was almost uncanny. But I had been looking for a water purifier, not one of those, what do you call the ones that the handheld things?
Oh, the pitcher?
The pitcher things? Yeah, I don't want to name them. I don't know the names. But those, to me, they just seem cumbersome. We have one in the refrigerator, but I wanted one that stands up on the counter. And I'm going to show you, if you're watching on your screens, this is the unit that I'm talking about that's actually in my kitchen. That picture that you're looking at right there, depending on which side my camera's looking at, that's it. And that's a Cove Pure water purifier. And it's the, let me flip that over and show your screen here real quick, because I want you guys to see this. It's a Cove Pure CP16. And Greg, when I started doing some research on this, I found out the nastiest stuff, and I'm going to mention it to everybody, right?
It's terrible.
Oh my God, I had no idea. Idea. It was brought to me by the people in Cove Pure. Take a listen to this one. And this research is real, ladies and gentlemen. I did my research on this. I want you to check this out. Did you know that researchers have been documenting male fish developing female characteristics in rivers all across the country? Did you know that? Have you ever heard that?
Yes, actually, I
You
have.
actually have heard that?
Alex Jones told me about it.
Okay, well, that might be okay for a bunch of lefties to have male fish developing female characteristics, but that ain't flying here, okay? So, and guys, it's disgusting, but I'm going to go here with you because it's true.
No, there's a lot of chemicals that people don't realize that do get into the water,
Yeah.
and it's from trash and a lot of different ways for it to get in there.
Well, it
It's
comes,
really
a
amazing.
lot of it, what they're finding out is the pharmaceuticals. It comes from birth
Yes.
control pills and wastewater
Yes.
treatment plants
100%.
that can't fully filter out water. And if you think about it, your water comes from filtered wastewater, ladies and gentlemen. But that's the same water that runs into your home. And I have 2 kids, a son and a daughter, as you guys know, and my wife, of course, a cancer survivor. So this is serious business. But I don't want that stuff coming in. And I bought this unit that you see on your screen right here. And they were setting us up a promo code, getting ready to launch. And I used the promo code just like you guys do. I saved $250 off. Now, if you're interested and you want to see more about it, they provided a great landing page for us. If you're watching, you can see it up on your screen right there, right above you, above me, somewhere up there on the screen in the corner, whichever way I point to wherever it is. That's a Cove Pure QR code. You can put your phone at that. It'll take you right to our landing page. But guys, this is gross, but I'm going to go here because I can. When people take medication, their bodies don't absorb it all. It gets flushed, it goes through the wastewater treatment. And those plants that were never built to catch that stuff, Greg, like the estrone from birth control pills and stuff, all
Yep,
the
estrogen,
antibiotics and antidepressants, comes right back out through your tap. And those standard pitchers just don't cut the mustard, man. They're too small, they're too persistent. And guys, the research is out there. I had no clue, but it's really nasty. But you need something like I have right now. It filters that stuff out at a molecular level. Say that fast a few times. But guys, it's the real deal. It's the Cove Pure 61 over here, the CP61. And let me bring that back down again. Well, let me pull that back up here for you.
And that's a really nice and sleek looking unit too. It could sit right next to
Are
your
you looking at it
refrigerator or
right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at it on the live stream, and it looks like one that doesn't take up your entire counter, so you could have it in a nice little tight spot right next to your coffee maker.
It's right next to the coffee maker. The coffee maker's over to our left. But what's really cool about this thing is, because it's me, I had a little learning curve, right? But here's some of the things I love focusing on. It's instantaneous cold, wet, cold. It says cool on it. You hit cool, and then you hit the cup size you want, and it's instantaneously cold. And here's what I found out. I like a good bourbon from time to time, right? You take that purified water and freeze that into cubes, and you've got clear ice, baby.
Yeah, you do.
right? So you can put it in blocks and all that cool stuff if that's your thing. It's
With a
also
round ball.
instant hot, so if I ever run out, like I did before, of my blackout coffee, and I have to use the blackout instant hot. It's right there for you. It comes out instant cold, instant hot just by the touch of a button. It's really strange. But the fun part about it was I had no idea my wife had been looking at these over the weekend. I had no clue. And she said, "What's the FedEx coming in?" And I said, "Oh, that's the Cove Pure Water." She goes, "Oh my God, I've been looking for one of those. Thank you, thank you, thank you." While I was running Andy's show yesterday, she set it up.
Oh, cool.
She set it up. That's how easy it is. It's plug and play, man. It was really cool. So there it is. It's covepure.com/AAR. Go take advantage of it. You're going to be hearing us talk about it. And the landing page they put up is really cool. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about here is a bucket list item for me, ladies and gentlemen, and that's Pendleton Safes. Pendleton Safes joins us now. And the family, Gordon and Bruce Pendleton, man, salt of the earth, the real deal, and a Pendleton safe. And as much as I hate to admit this, Greg, it's so cool to have a great safe company on the show with us.
Yeah, it's about time.
I have 2 safes, and I hate this because every time I open them, I get really frustrated. Stuff's everywhere, man.
Yeah.
I got papers in there. You know, everybody goes through it to get their stuff. There's guns on the top shelf, and I have a lot of guns and things of that nature. And yeah, I've got rifles that are, stacked up, leaning up against each other, and it just drives me crazy. I actually put a nick in my Thompson in the grip trying to get another gun out that fell into it, and I can't unsee it, man. I just can't unsee it. Never happens with a Pendleton, ladies and gentlemen, because the technology they use, the safes revolve. They revolve. You never have to touch your gun in a Pendleton safe ever again. Never again. Greg, the thing is unbelievable. And the light system in it, ladies and gentlemen, 400 LED lights. Let me pop this up on the screen so I can share this with you. I think I've got it. Here it is. These are Pendletons, ladies and gentlemen, and they are absolutely gorgeous. They're not just for guns. They're not just for your valuables, but look at the organization in this. I got to play radio theater of the mind with you. When you open up these beautiful safes, they turn. They rotate.
30.
They bring your gun right to you. It's 100% instant organization. It's impossible to keep it unorganized because they fit where they're supposed to go. Rifles, handguns, they turn. And if you look on top of some of the models of the safes, they've got safe storage on top for other items that you might want to have in the safe that just clog it up and make it a mess. Ladies and gentlemen, it's pendletonsafes.com. The frustration of opening your gun safes ends right now because Pendleton Safes has solved the problem. And I've been eyeballing these for 2 years. These are bucket list safes, ladies and gentlemen. They're absolutely gorgeous. Make sure to check them out, and we welcome them and the family to Armed American Radio. So make sure to check out covepure.com and pendletonsafes.com. Love you guys. We'll be back. AWR Hawkins from Breitbart News. Don't go away. Guys, let me take a look at some of these safes with you here online. These things are incredible, ladies and gentlemen. I first started looking at these at an NRA convention 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. But if you can see these things flipping back and forth on this screen, these aren't your run-of-the-mill gun safes, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And I'm going to be talking to you about fire ratings. I've learned so much about how much garbage that is. It's all just marketing crap. But Pendleton Safes, you see these safes over in the corner of the room over here. They will design this to literally fit the decor of your home. And they're just incredible. They're absolutely incredible. And they're not for the faint of heart. These are not inexpensive. I'm not going to tell you that they're inexpensive. They are not. But they're beautiful. And if you see how the way way it appears over here on your screens as you're watching during the break, you can see the lighting system in it. I mean, they're just flat out badass. It's just that simple. They're just absolutely badass. But all you do, with the touch of a button, the guns come to you. And you can reach right in and grab them, and there's places for your ammo and everything else. And even if you're not a gun owner, you've got just amazing places you can see in here for storage of your valuables. And they're set up and designed that way, as you can see in the live screen here. It's very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. And the lines of safes, I'll click over here because we've got the shared screen. Let's jump over here for you. See if we pull this up. Here we go. Let's take a look at some of the features. But look at that, man. It's just flat out bad. These things are just badass. There's nothing like them. So I have my eyes set on a night series over here. And there's different levels of safes, and the prices range, from low all the way up to as high as you want them to be. They'll build rooms for you. It's incredible. But they are really something to see. And when you see them in person, when you open it up, you will walk from one safe display at one of the conventions to another, and nothing holds a candle to these things. You just keep going back to them. And as I mentioned, they are priced at their quality. I mean, let's be honest. A $10 sweater is stitched better than a $5 sweater. It's pretty much that simple. And I've been eyeballing these. In fact, Ryan Petty was with me when we were looking at a couple of these safes at NRA about a year ago. And I don't have time here during the break to go through all of these, but you can click, and I'll just click into one here. And they've got different series. You can go on the site and actually read about the actual series itself, and then the individual units inside them, the dimensions. But every single square inch of these safes is designed to keep you from losing your mind when you open your safe. And I do. I have two of them that they drive me batty. I've got some coins and all that stuff, and you got valuables in it, and of course all of your guns. And they're kind of just leaning up against each other. Nah, not anymore. Those days are over. So I'm looking forward to the next 90 days of picking one of these up.
AWR on hold.
We'll tell you all the fun stuff and how you can do all that. But start out by taking a look at them, please. Give the company a look over at PendletonsAfes.com. And we appreciate these guys, man. If you can support these companies that support us and keep us on air, scratching each other's backs, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you much. We'll be back with AWR. Stay here live with you. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to be here with you. Hope you're enjoying the radio broadcast as well as the on-screen delivery of the program today. And you heard the newest sponsors. I hope that you give them a look. We'd appreciate it. And by the way, you save $250 off on that Cove Pure Water. And it runs at the unit is $649. If you go to their regular website, I think they've got it knocked down $50. You go to the AAR, it's $250. Take advantage of that. Great bargain over there for you. AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News. Welcome in, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, man. It's always a pleasure having you here. That's to say the least. I got to go to Virginia with you, AWR. There's a lot happening there. And for the last 3 days, both on this show and when I was sitting in for Andy Hoosier on Saturday, his Saturday national program yesterday, I tied together the Glock ban in Connecticut that Lamont just signed. You wrote about it, along with what's going on in Virginia, and I tied it together with the prosecutors in Virginia. I think we're up to 8. If you know that we're up even higher than that, let me know. I may be wrong on that. But you've got a piece here.
I think we're at 10.
Are we at 10 now? Okay, see, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We're at 10. And that's great to know. And we're going to have Phil Van Cleve on coming up this week. That number is going to continue to rise. You agree with me on that, A-Dubs? It's going to rise.
People are not. This deal, as you and I have spoken about privately, as it runs against the Virginia Constitution, when people see other people standing up as they've done, as we went from one prosecutor to 3 to 5, now to 10, it's going to just keep growing.
Yeah, it is. And now you've got a great piece up here that came out yesterday fairly early. And guys, honestly, the direction this is moving, it's moving slower than the Second Amendment sanctuary movement did, AWR, I think, a little bit slower. But there's reason for that, because you've got prosecutors and sheriffs involved here that are making decisions that are a little bit more than verbally saying, I promise to support the Second Amendment. I mean, these prosecutors are saying, we're not going to prosecute people for these crimes that have been created under this new law. And now your headline reads, sponsor of Virginia assault weapons ban tells anti-gun control prosecutors, quit tough guy posturing. So, okay, we should just quit tough guy posturing and let this guy screw us out of our constitutional rights. I'll let you take this one away. Just be FCC friendly is all I'm asking, because it's very difficult for me to do that right now.
Right. Well, it's a weird thing, but I've said it before on X and other places with people when I interact, but in a very non-aggressive way. And I stress the non-aggressive, and I would even say in a very respectful way. We have to convince the government we're not going to give up our guns. That's a starting point. Not going to happen. And when I say our guns, I mean that 44 Magnum I got from my daddy. That's a revolver. You're not getting it. I mean the 45 ACP I have that was my uncle's. That's a 1911. You're not getting it. I mean the number of ARs I have, and it's none of your business how many I own. You're not getting them. And they just need to know we're not playing the game. The Second Amendment is there not to handcuff the people, but to handcuff the government.
Thank you.
Same deal with the First Amendment. It's not there to tell me what I can or can't say. It's there to tell the government, keep your nose out of the people's speech. And so the government needs to know we know that, and they can go and do whatever they want. They can spend all their time passing legislation about windmills or wind turbines or whatever. That's great. I love it. Do whatever you want to do. But you're not getting my guns, and the quicker you figure that out, the quicker you'll keep pushing, or quit pushing, excuse me.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the push here, because the arrogance, and I'm just going to give you his name. This is the guy that wrote the bill that the governor signed. Saddam Aslan Salim. That's the guy that is attempting to take away your rights in the state of Virginia, and I hope none of you comply. None of you. Take a listen. Again, this is very difficult for me to be FCC friendly on this. Stick with me during the break if you're watching the streams. I'll get unfriendly. I know these Republican prosecutors see this as an opportunity for tough guy posturing and amateur constitutional lawyering. But ending the sale of assault weapons in Virginia isn't something an individual prosecutor can do anything about. Want to bet, pal? And he added, let me finish his quote, and then I'm going to turn it to you. Local prosecutors don't enforce, they prosecute. And my message to anyone thinking about breaking Virginia law is, don't bet on Virginia law enforcement ignoring it. Pal, bet on this, bro. Bet on very little compliance in the state of Virginia. Go ahead, AWR.
Well, he talked about military grade or military style or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Here's the deal. How did we beat the British redcoats? It's because when they pulled out their little muskets that they love so much, we had the same muskets. We were shooting back at them with the same muskets with which they were shooting at us. That's why our general store workers, our bank workers, our farmers were able to roll them up because there was no gap between the military and the private citizen. The gap right now, I'm going to make an argument. The gap right now is too great. So I don't buy in, of course, to the lie that AR-15 is military grade. It's not. I don't buy into it. But what I will say is, even if it is, it's not enough. I don't want an AR-15. I want an AR-15 with a grenade launcher. Wait, I don't want an AR-15 with a grenade launcher. I want an AR-15 with a grenade launcher and a drone overhead with which I can drop grenades or other incendiary devices on folks. That's the direction we've got to move, because there's too great of a gap between the people and the military, and our founding fathers would never stand for it.
Yeah, my recommendation to you, AWR, you know my family. And this is personal for me, because my sister was just here from Virginia. She left, in fact, I think she landed about an hour ago back in D.C. to get back to Northern Virginia. She lives in a very conservative county up in that area, a very red county, believe it or not the Loudoun, any of that area. She's close to it, but not in those counties. And here's the deal, Virginia. I'm going to tell you this right now, Virginia politicians and Sadim Alan Aziz or whatever the hell your name is. Here's the deal. I'm getting ready to send 50 30-round magazines into your state and 2 more AR-15s. Take that to the bank. And they're going to be there before July 1st. And you know what? There's not a damn thing you can do about it. And they're going to be there after July 1st as well. And I would recommend every single Virginia resident write a letter to this clown, not only to this clown and to the clown governor that you have. but also to your prosecutor in your county, telling them that you have no intention of complying with this and that they had better back you up and support you. Because guess what, folks? Waiting for the next election is not going to cut the mustard. AWR, that's not bad advice, is it? I've got your article up on screen here as I'm scrolling through it for viewers to watch.
No, it's not bad advice. And what you also have to remember is you have to look at the situation that we had. I can't remember now if it was Connecticut or where it was, but they'll pass this and they let you keep your guns because they're so, in their benevolence, if you already own a gun on July 1st, you can keep it.
Oh,
and then what they'll do is next year during legislative session, they'll come back and say, well, we're sorry. We shouldn't have done the grandfather clause. We're going to get rid of that.
Rhode
and
Island.
you'll have to turn your gun in. So once you buy into the lie that they have the power to tell you what you can and can't own, once you do that, you're done. Do not buy into the lie.
I believe that was Rhode Island. We talked about it a few weeks ago, you and I did on the show.
Rhode Island, you're exactly right.
Is it Rhode Island?
It was
Confirm
Rhode
that?
Island,
Okay.
too.
And ladies and gentlemen, what AWR is referencing here is they now have a bill, a sponsored bill, to remove the grandfathering. You know, they told you could have it as long as you had it by July 1st. Now they want to go back and say, no.
It's like
You're not
Obama.
allowed
If you
to have
like
it.
your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
Yeah.
But, that was a lie.
Exactly. It's the way they play pool, ladies and gentlemen. It's why we've been addressing the constitutional aspect of this on the program over the next few days. And it's why we'll do that with Jared Yanis, really, for the hour coming up in the next hour. Yeah, guys, this is very frustrating stuff. And stick with us when we come back from the break. AWR stays with us for one more segment. And I'll stick with you during the break a little bit. We'll scroll through some of these screens together. And I might just give you a piece of my mind that isn't real friendly otherwise. So enjoy watching. Be right back with you. Hey, guys. This Virginia story gets more infuriating by the minute, particularly when you listen to what this SOB has to say. And I want to go back and quote him again. If you are watching and you live in Virginia and you didn't hear this before, pay very careful attention. Because these are threatening comments this guy's making, and he's about to find out, I'm afraid, exactly what prosecutors have in store for him. He says, I know these Republican prosecutors see this as an opportunity for tough guy posturing and amateur constitutional lawyering, but ending the sale of assault weapons in Virginia isn't something an individual prosecutor can do anything about. Local prosecutors don't enforce, they prosecute, and my message to anyone thinking about breaking Virginia law is don't bet on Virginia law enforcement ignoring it. Would that mean the sheriffs, ladies and gentlemen, that also are not going to enforce this? This cat's going to get a wake-up call. And what angers me more than anything about this is the fact that the Supreme Court, this didn't have to happen. The Supreme Court could have put a stop to this by taking the Fourth Circuit case before any of this happened. And we would have had a ruling at the very latest in June coming up this month from the Supreme Court. And they didn't do that. And they let every American down when they didn't do that. Now, Thomas is pissed off about it. Kavanaugh has signaled that they're going to take a case. We will never know why they didn't take the case, even though they granted cert, vacated the decision, remanded it back to the entire Fourth Circuit. Virginia is in the Fourth Circuit, which is part of, Fourth Circuit upheld Maryland's. That's what the Snopes case was about. And this one you can hang the hat right on the Supreme Court. This didn't have to happen, but we are going to win this in court, and we're going to stuff the Constitution right down this clown's throat. That much I can promise you. We'll be back in just a second with AWR. Yeah, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you on radio heard that rejoinder. Those of you watching did not because of copyright issues with bumper music, but we're changing that. And I want to answer Texas Huntsman here, who I had the privilege and honor to meet at the NRA convention in Texas, in Houston, when he walked up and shook my paw, and I appreciate it. He says, when do we get to hear the new bumper music being shredded on your Gibson? Well, that's one of the guitars that I wrote all that stuff on. It won't be long, brother. We're just polishing some stuff up, and you guys will be the first to hear it. And I'll play it for you during a break. That much I promise you. Okay? We'll make that happen for you. Attorneysonretainer.us. Here's I would say it's a new twist. It's a twist I was unaware of, so I want to give it to you now, so that makes it somewhat new. But Attorneys on Retainer, when you use the promo code AAR, attorneysonretainer.us/AAR, it's $50 off the sign-up fee through the entire month of June. So you have until June 30th at midnight to take advantage. So it was $25 off. It's $50 off now, and it's only $37 a month. Biggest no-brainer we've ever had on this show, ladies and gentlemen. Attorneys on Retainer. If you carry a gun for self-defense, put a lawyer in your pocket. It's that simple. Attorneysonretainer.us. AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News. Welcome back in, brother. Always a pleasure. I got to go back to this Saddam character again, because now we have a sheriff. This guy said, that's not up to you. He said, Virginia, if you're thinking about breaking Virginia law, don't bet on Virginia law enforcement ignoring it. Well, Virginia law enforcement, in fact, is going to ignore it, and some people are getting vocal about it, AWR. How do you see this shaking out, absence any Supreme Court or an injunction by the Virginia State Supreme Court in the VCDL case, which, by the way, is a very real possibility? How does this all end?
Well, my guess is GOA and Virginia Citizens Defense League, and they will secure an injunction quickly.
I hope you're right.
But I say that just to say it. But apart from that, we need more sheriffs to rally behind this sheriff, Sumption. He is. This is a very good move. Will not be enforcing the ban. Not only the assault weapons ban, he won't be enforcing some other gun controls. And so this is what we need. We need to let the governor know, hey, you got elected by lying to people and telling them you were middle of the road, which you weren't. You're hard left. You're a Barack Obama in a dress. And but we're not going to enforce your laws. And that's what needs to happen. So let's at least make the laws feckless until we can get a court to strike them down. So, again, and I mean with my whole heart, God bless Sheriff Sumption, and this is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've got your screen shared. Guys, his headline to read over at Breitbart News is Virginia Sheriff refuses to enforce AR-15 ban and expanded public carry restrictions. God bless this man. We're going to reach out to his office. Would love to get him on the program. Clark County, Virginia Sheriff Travis Sumption, as you just said, says his office will not enforce the state's assault weapons ban nor the expanded public carry restrictions, and that's a beautiful thing. You just mentioned that. Let's bring the governor into this real fast, AWR. How do you see Spanberger? Because she's been silent on this massive pushback, and you just enlighten our audience and myself as the host that there are now 10 prosecutors. The number is going to rise. This is an in-your-face to that tyrant. How do you think she responds to this publicly, or will she just blow it off? I don't think she will. She's got too much of an ego.
Yeah, I think she blows it off because she thinks she's all that in a bag of chips, and she doesn't understand. She's fixing to figure out the limitations and the checks and balances because the court is going to remind her whether it's state court or a federal court. She's going to lose on this assault weapons ban. There's no way around it. Between the Virginia Constitution and Bruin and Heller and everything else, she's basically trapped. So that's that, and she's going to squeal. She's going to squeal the way a little piglet squeals when you get it all cornered up and it's time, and she's going to squeal like that, but she can squeal all she wants because it's going to happen. And but this is what she gets because she lied to the people of Virginia to get elected. She acted like she was acted like she's a moderate. She's not. She hates the Second Amendment. She hates gun owners, but gun owners are going to win today.
All right, let's go to another governor who we love to hate on, and that, of course, is Governor Hochul out of New York, who just used the state budget. I covered this on Armed American Radio's Daily Defense briefly, to enact 3D printer gun controls. But they didn't just do that. They want criminal penalty for manufacturers who don't install software that blocks the production. You want to explain this here? I mean, it's just one thing after another, which is, guys, how I opened up the show in the first segment, quite frankly. Go ahead.
Well, there's no way to explain it other than we're really in First Amendment territory. We're not in Second Amendment territory. Mm-hmm. And so that's what she's done. She has now not only violated the second, but she's violating the first. And that's why someone like SAS will file suit and destroy this. The Second Amendment Foundation will annihilate this because this woman is in violation, as I say, of Amendment 1 and Amendment 2 in different ways. But our problem is this, and I don't know if she has bigger aspirations, and I'll be honest, Mark, that's what I had in mind. I'm like, is she looking to grab because this is so extreme and so and it's nonsensical. It's not going to stand. I'm just telling you that. I'll say that in my own. I'm not even asking you to agree with me. This is not going to stand because it violates us first and second. But this is a woman right here who is trying to convince fringe donors who are super wealthy that they can dump money into her campaign and that she will come through for them. This is not a serious woman. It's not a serious politician. It's this old hag who is the governor of New York. That's all it is.
If you want to see whether that description of old hag is legit or not, flip us over and watch us on YouTube. I'll keep that face up there for you. It's difficult to look at. It's hard to do. No, it's hard to do. But
a sweet apple or a carrot.
One of the things that there's some nuance in here as well, too, because that budget, ladies and gentlemen, and AWR talks about it. You can see it on your screens if you're watching. The budget signed by Hochul also contains language requiring gun makers to design pistols so they can't be modified into machine guns. So now they're trying to tell firearms manufacturers how to design pistols around criminal activity, AWR. I'll let you address that. We have 20 seconds. Go for it.
No, you're exactly right. The way you framed it's perfect. So, in other words, a criminal can figure out a way to do this or that. And if the criminal can figure that out, then the gun maker is liable because of what the criminal has figured out. That's crazy. I own a gazillion guns. I haven't figured out, or I haven't tried to, make any of them full auto. I don't violate the law. You know why? I'm not a criminal. So leave the gun makers alone. Go after the criminals. If there's someone on our street so dangerous, they're going to turn a handgun into a machine gun. If they're that dangerous, put them in prison. And if that's not enough, execute them, but get them out of society.
I'll leave it at that. AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News. Well played, brother. Appreciate you every single day. Thanks for everything that you do. Ladies and gentlemen, Breitbart News, AWR Hawkins. Real simple. Search him on whatever engine you use. AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News, and you can see the list of everything that he writes every single day. He is a tremendous and valuable resource for this program and for the nation. These people are national treasures, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate everything they do. When we come back, Jared Yanis, another national treasure from Guns and Gadgets, for the hour. We're going to get constitutional on you by combining all of this. As I mentioned in the opening segment, we'll be back at 6 after. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back at 6 minutes after. If you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe over there. Check out the QR code and check out that Cove Pure water purifier. Guys, that thing's really badass. In fact, that's so cool. I'm going to show it to you again. This is the one on my counter. And the only reason I'm leaving those directions up on there is because of me, not anybody else. But the learning curve on it, super easy. Super easy. It was as simple as plug and play. My wife did it while I was actually sitting in for Andy Hoosier's show on his national program just yesterday. But the unit itself is badass. It really, truly is. And it works like a champ. And I compared the water taste in it from the unit itself to what was coming out of the filter in the refrigerator, and there's no comparison. I never thought that would be the case until I actually did it. And I started doing the research, guys. It's gross. Let me just put it that way. It's absolutely disgusting what comes out of your tap water. And I would get yelled at all the time until just recently, a couple weeks back, when I would go grab my, I mentioned this before. Sofia Vergara sold me a Ninja coffee maker at 3 o'clock in the morning a number of years ago. And she could have sold me anything at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was watching one of her infomercials because, well, it was Sofia Vergara. But I do love the coffee maker, and I did put her politics aside. It's hard not to, at least. Bottom line is, be honest with you, I would take the pitcher and fill it with tap water until just about 2 weeks ago. And I got caught doing that, and I got yelled at for doing that. And I thought, what's the big deal? It's water. It's going to be heated. Now, when you start looking into what's in it, So I'd wait for about 6 minutes for that little drip thing out of the refrigerator. Not now, right out of here. And like I said, the bourbon aspect of this is really cool because this will make pure ice cubes for you. If you're like me, I like one of the round ice cubes or a chunk block ice. Use this stuff out of the purifier, and you've got 100% clear ice. And it works. Been there, done it, surfed it. Make sure to check them out at Cove Pure, and make sure to check out as well Pendleton Safes, pendletonsafes.com, our newest sponsor. Those things, man, wow. The best you've ever seen. There's nothing better. Nothing. Those things, just give them a look. pendletonsafes.com. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back 6 minutes after with Jared Yanis from Guns and Gadgets. I'll be back a little bit early for you, too, as well. All right. So we got Jared Yanis in, ladies and gentlemen. He's looking good and ready to rock and roll. We won't be able to hear him yet because he's not in the queue. But we're going to get Constitution on you guys when we come back in 3 minutes. We're going to talk the founders and what all this means and why these states are doing what they're doing and what we can do to combat it. And again, we're going to focus on Virginia. We're going to focus on now Delaware in that Third Circuit. And we're going to focus on Connecticut and a little bit on New York and how all this ties together. So stick around with us. We'll be back with Jared Yanis in just a moment from Guns and Gadgets. There he is, the man himself. We'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, coming back to you right now, about 15 seconds. I'm going to cut the mics off so to avoid any copyright strikes until we can get this Gibson guitar running in for you, which will be very, very soon. I'm coming back in with Jared Yanis. Hang tight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's rock and roll. Buckle in. Hour 2 underway, and it's going to fly right by, I can promise you. And I want to give a big shout-out to the 20 new affiliates out there. The list is too long to mention, and I think it's going to grow again. Today's the 31st. We'll get another end-of-month report coming up on the 4th or 5th for the previous month, and I'm sure there will be even more growth. Armed American Radio continues to expand its reach across this great nation, and it is a great nation. And, guys, we're Communication and Command Center. Please go out of your way to visit all of those great partners, and we welcome in 2 new partners tonight as well. But that's covepure.com/AAR. I showed you the screens in the previous hour, talked about it, played Theater of the Mind with you. It's the real deal. We love it here at the house. And also Pendleton Safe, pendletonsafes.com. Make sure to check them out as well. Let's go right to the camera and the phones. Jared Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, YouTube star and fame. How you doing, brother? You're looking good tonight. Great to have you here, man.
Good to be here, brother. I just got off the motorcycle, and it's a great night to ride.
You had all that hair blowing in the breeze, huh?
Yeah, right.
That's what it was. Jared, I over the last few days, including when I sat in, I guest hosted for Andy Hoosier's Voice of Reason show yesterday for 2 hours. And what I've been trying to do is, when we talk about the fight going to the states, right, the Democrats and gun grabbers are neutered at the federal level right now. So they've been pushing this to the states. your videos are fantastic. You've talked about Virginia. Now we got Glock bans right now. There's Cam Edwards is writing about the Third Circuit case in Delaware right now with the new 1-year-old FOID. We'll call it a FOID card. It's now being challenged. But all of this ties together in a constitutional framework because in Delaware now, Jared, there are 17 anti-gun states, the usual suspects. You know the states. You can pick them. They're all behind the blue wall. All of their AGs have signed on to support the firearm owner identification card, post-Bruin environment. Let's go back in history, which is something you and I both love to talk about, and this has been the way I've been framing this over these last few shows, the constitutional aspect of this and what the Bill of Rights was actually designed to do. And I'll turn the mic over to you on that right now to get us started, and we'll carry it as long as we can get, until Greg cuts us off.
Yeah, man. First off, it's always fun to be back here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Sure.
You know, if you watch my channel, you know how I feel about this. Like the blueprint was written for a reason, and we are to follow that blueprint for a reason. The founders' main fear, well, there was a couple fears. They feared, obviously, a standing army, and they feared a central government that would grow too powerful and be too far from the citizens and thus not accountable to the people. And that's what we have today, right? And if we can bring it back to the Constitution, if we can bring it back to the way things were designed, we would know, especially if you study the founding documents and the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers, you would know that the Bill of Rights is written only to state plainly that government shall not affect these or infringe on these pre-existing rights. The Constitution is a limit on government, not a limit on us. It has nothing to do with us. It simply says you, the government, can only do these things, and if it's not given to you, that power, it is then secured to the people or the states, period. And we've gotten through this scenario where bureaucracies now are so big that they think they can be the judge, jury, and the prison themselves. They can create a rule, they can enforce the rule, and then they can decide if that rule is valid when rules are unconstitutional. The permitting schemes are unconstitutional. Background checks, and this will rub people the wrong way, but background checks, they didn't do them back in the day. Mm-hmm. They are unconstitutional. So we have a lot of things that this country has done in the last 50 to 70 years, or 91 if you start with the NFA, that the founders probably would have taken some serious action about if their government had done it back then. And America's in a different spot right now. We need to go back to center. We need to bring it back to the way this country was designed to be and not really care about the feelings of those who want to take power from us or take control of us.
Okay, you've given us an entire hour. And let me just kind of break some of this down and let's kind of go down a couple of these rabbit holes with you. The founders would have taken some action. There's no question about it. Or would they have? And here's why I say that. And I frame that in the form of a question. Because the states, upon ratification, the process that this nation went through and the process our founders went to provide us the republic, as Benjamin Franklin said so famously, a republic if you can keep it. I don't think the states back then would have pushed to the point the states are now. So that begs this question, why now? And I've been asked this question before, and I'm sure you have as well, just a generic question in generic conversation. And that is just benign conversation. Man, how did we get here? Right? Well, what I find fascinating about that, Jared, is I think it's a really easy question to answer, and I'll throw it this way to you. It just took 250 years of creep to get here. And it's our generations that are living through the result of it. We happen to be the generations alive to see this coming to a head. And I get this gut feeling sense that this is coming to a head. And I can point to individual states as examples of that, such as Virginia. Let's point. You talk about tyrants here. I know these Republican prosecutors see this as an opportunity for tough guy posturing and amateur constitutional lawyering, but ending the sale of assault weapons in Virginia isn't something an individual prosecutor can do anything about. This is the Sadim Aziz Halim, whatever his name is, that wrote the bill. And he added, local prosecutors don't enforce, they prosecute. And my message to anyone thinking about breaking Virginia law is don't bet on Virginia law enforcement ignoring it, except for the sheriffs who have said, and the number is now up to 10 according to AWR prosecutors, those numbers of sheriffs are going to grow. How do they respond to this? Kind of take all of that and just kind of run with it.
Yeah, I mean, first off, the guy who wrote the bill, he's not even an American. He's not even from here, so I don't care about his feelings or his opinion. He can go back to where he came from if he really wants that. Second of all, it is the job of these prosecutors to uphold the United States Constitution, not some feeling of some bureaucrat, not some feeling of some left-wing lunatic. That doesn't matter. You can pass whatever law you want, but if it doesn't pass the smell test, then it's unconstitutional, and any law repugnant to the Constitution is void. So this guy obviously doesn't know what he's talking about. He needs to take an ethics class. He needs to take a civics class. He probably should read the founding documents because he swore an oath to uphold them, and he's violating them. The sheriffs absolutely should push back against this. They did in 2020 when Virginia had a very similar scenario going on. These commissioners and these county prosecutors, they need to tell or let their constituents know they got their back, because there are millions of people who don't know which way to go right now. It comes July 1st, people are going to have a map, an abacus, GPS, and some type of like water finding wand to figure out if they're a felon that day or not, or if they walk over a certain county line. And that's not the way this country was designed, man. You know this.
Of course.
Our founders would never let this happen. We had generations and generations of people who, if it didn't bother me personally, it didn't bother me because I had other stuff going on. Well, now that it's like the frog, right? You just turn that temperature up on the stove little by little, and before you know it, he's boiled alive. And that's what's been happening to America for a very, very long time. And the good thing is now is that post-COVID, the country's waking up. People on both sides of the aisle are keen to the BS now. And the pipe dream of the gun controller has been fractured, not just because of Bruin that destroyed the foundation of everything, but because people are waking up to the government and their shenanigans now at a rate faster than probably anywhere since the Civil War. So I do think, like you said, it's coming to a head. I'm glad it's coming to a head because we need to right this ship fast or the ship will sink.
There's no doubt about it. You're spot on with all of it, and we're going to run out of time here in just a minute. I'll get into some more of it because I want to tie in Glock. I want to tie in Kathy Hochul and the creep that we've seen, and that, yeah, the chuckle from you, man. It's hard. I had her picture up on screen a little bit ago, and it's hard to keep up there, man. It really is. Same thing with Spanberg, and I can't wait to get your opinion on how you think Spanberger is going to react to this, because she will at some point. Her ego will not allow her to remain silent. And I'd love to know, and we don't know the answer, but again, ladies and gentlemen, it goes back to that things are coming to a head. How does this stop? Well, it is 250 years of creep that got us here. And it's quite fascinating because we are, in fact, the generations that are living through what our very founders warned us could happen. They wrote the documents they wrote and gave us the government and the republic we have today specifically to keep this from happening right now. And you're living through it. It's fascinating. You're a part of this. And we need everybody's help to put a stop to it. Guys, Virginia, you can't wait to the next election. What's happening there now, these are the things you have to do to take care of business in advance. And I can promise you we'll win this fight. We will win this fight. There's no question about it. But it is going to be a fight. When we come back, Jared Yanis, 3 more segments. We're going to keep the conversation alive. Don't go away. Yeah, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. At Mobile Communication and Command Center. You just heard that NRA rejoin on all those radio stations, hundreds of them around the country. This is a Patriot mobile phone I'm holding in my hand right here. There you go. I'm knocking it into the microphone. And, guys, you can activate a Patriot mobile phone, too. PatriotMobile.com/AAR, PatriotMobile.com/AAR, or you just visit PatriotMobile.com and use the promo code AAR. But if you go to the landing page, it's really cool, and it explains everything over there. They wear the Second Amendment on their front page like I wear it tattooed on my forearm, ladies and gentlemen. And they recommend and encourage all of their employees in their Texas facility to carry. Over 80% of their employees are openly armed at work. Try that with the other three that we don't like to mention their names, and that would be AT&T, Verizon, and Mobile, and I'll just mention their names because we do it anyway. They don't encourage that. In fact, they discourage that. PatriotMobile.com is the real deal. Let's go back to Jared Yanis from Guns and Gadgets. Jared, welcome back in, brother. So how many, let's get YouTube out there. Let's get you on YouTube. Let's get you up to 1 million. Where are you at now? You over 800,000 yet?
I think I'm at 780-ish.
You're getting there, man.
780,000.
You're getting there. And the bigger that number gets,
Slow creep.
that, one
They
or
hate
two.
us.
Yeah, it's that slow creep, right? But you're 17 plus years in to Guns and Gadgets right now. Congratulations on the success over there at YouTube, man. You're killing it, and we love you over there. Great source,
thank you, buddy.
guys, of information at Guns and Gadgets. If you don't subscribe, please do. But don't subscribe to him until you subscribe to me, too. Do it both at the same time. It's easy over on YouTube, Guns and Gadgets and Armed American Radio. Also, Blackout Coffee, want to mention that. If you're watching on your screens, I've changed the Blackout. That's a Blackout Coffee code up top. Take a look at that. Point your phone at that and grab some Blackout Coffee. My shipment delivers, I believe, on Tuesday. My next shipment, 2 more bags coming my way, and it's a beautiful thing. BlackoutCoffee.com. Greg, real quick, ask me how many cups I had to start my day, Greg.
How many cups did you start today of Blackout Coffee?
Made a full pot today.
Oh,
and kept it rolling throughout the day. Sundays are long days, so Blackout Coffee is a huge help. All right, Jared, let's pivot quickly. Let me give you just an idea of what I was talking about in the first segment. We'll kind of use that as a segue and then pivot up to Connecticut, keeping Virginia in mind and Delaware in mind. Because what's at stake here, it's not, going to Delaware, what's at stake isn't whether Delaware citizens need permission to purchase a firearm. What's at stake is whether the constitutional rights remain rights. That's what's at stake. It doesn't matter that it's a Glock. It's not the brand, ladies and gentlemen, okay? It's whether the right to own what you want remains a right to own what you want, or whether they become government-issued privileges, okay? That's what we're talking about here. If we lose that distinction, Jared, every freedom becomes vulnerable. So from that perspective, let's pivot to Connecticut now. Lamont just signed another Glock ban. So that makes Maryland, Connecticut, California, and Illinois is now writing one as well. And there's that slow creep that takes 250 years to get here over time. This is just the newest version. Let's tie that together, because this isn't about the brand. This is, I'm going to say, is it a conspiracy? Because the 17 AGs that are now signed on to the amicus brief in the Delaware case behind the blue wall, they're talking to each other. That makes this a conspiracy as far as I'm concerned. Mike's yours.
You know, we're in a period right now. I said this on my video today, and it just kind of flew out there, and I think it's going to stick. We're in a phase now in the Second Amendment community where they just rename the infringement. They just rename it to something that sounds politically acceptable, and they run with it. And we're also in a phase now where if it's successful in one of these blue anti-gun states, the rest will do it.
Yes.
It's not an if, it's just when they can put pen to paper and rush it through the legislatures. And we're seeing that. I mean, you get the Glock bans, the assault weapon bans, the magazine restrictions, you got everything. And it does come down to, is my right a right? We're now, I mean, the Supreme Court's got some serious cases in front of them where if they don't say the right things and rule the right way, America as we know it is officially dead. Because if a state can decide when I have a right and when I don't, just based off of where I happen to be standing at that minute, it's not really a right, it's a privilege. You know, we have states like Maryland and all the other ones that are going against the Second Amendment, Connecticut too, where, you know, yeah, I can get a permit, but it's worthless because they're going to tell me all the spots I can't carry. And there are all the spots in the public where you're going to face a threat where you might need to defend yourself. So, yeah, Connecticut, they're a bunch of clowns running it. Lamont's a clown. I know Holly up there at CCDL is going to, you know, do the best she can. They just had the New England Firearms Advocate Conference up there Saturday. Yeah, yesterday. And they're behind the eight ball. And I always say to people, like, support those that support you. Don't just give to the big names, your GOA, SAF, FPC, NRA, whatever ones you want to give money to. But don't forget the states. The state groups need your support more often than the bigger groups do, because they're the ones fighting it at the local level. So I'm going to write another check to CCDL to help them through this stuff. And all of us need to do it. I challenge listeners and viewers of our channels and the radio here to help us in this cause. You can't just think, well, you know what, Mark Walters will do it, or Jared will do it, or GOA will do it, or some Superman's going to fly in and handle this for me. It's we the people, guys. This is our country, and it's time that we take it back.
I think you have that. Oh, look at that. There's a YouTube clip right there, brother. Guys, we both have a We the People tattoo on radio. That's what we just held up our arms. Let's go to CCDL. I'm glad you mentioned the states. CCDL, ladies and gentlemen, Connecticut Citizens Defense League. We're going to have Holly on the show coming up next week. And by the way, I thanked you on the weekday show because you sponsored, I believe, the after hours happy hour deal. And I made it very clear to everybody: go get cocktails, okay? Have some fun while you're up there. Guns and Gadgets is sponsoring it, so thank you for doing that. Holly, of course, is a member of the board of directors with me, serving at Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms. I'm 13 years into that now, and it's an honor and a privilege to do that. CCDL is free to join. It's free to join. All right? You don't have to live in Connecticut to join, ladies and gentlemen. This is the United States of America, and as Jared is saying, we're all in this together, and I think you'll agree with me. We're either going to sink together or we're going to rise together, one of the two, and it takes us all to do it. Virginia Citizens Defense League, guys, is $25 for an annual membership. And if I know it's tough out there. If you can afford the $25, that's all you need. Just join. We need yours. Power in numbers. VCDL, $25. AZCDL, we're talking about Arizona, the most gun-friendly state in the country. These states need our help. They're $40 for a year. Beginning next month, for the next 90 days plus, you're going to start hearing us, Jared, talking about Florida carry. Whoa, why are we pushing Florida carry and AZCDL? These are free states. Jared, do I have to remind you what happened to the Homeowners Association in Florida and the Blue Enclave over in Port St. Lucie? You know Florida well, brother. They just simply won't quit. It's not going to end. That's why we're not safe behind the red wall, are we?
No, not at all, because especially with the balkanization of America going on, where people want to leave their blue states and move to a red state, well, they oftentimes will vote their blue ways here and makes it purple and then blue. So, yes, we all need to pay attention, 100%. You're not the thing you said there was false. The gun-friendly states, the Bloombergs that have unlimited dollar bills, they're funneling money into our states to try to take away the red gun-friendly state nomenclature and turn it blue and then try to control the citizens there.
I'm in Georgia. They're working on turning us purple here. We're not going to let it happen, but they are pushing, ladies and gentlemen. All right? We've got 2 more segments with Jared Yanis. Make sure to follow him over at Guns and Gadgets on YouTube. We will be right back with Jared. Don't go away. Guys, during the break on the live show, many more of you will watch the live show later if you're joining the program later after it aired. If you are not a subscriber over at Guns and Gadgets, please make sure to do that. Visit Jared at gunsandgadgets.com. It is a wealth of information. I'm over there every day. He's a tremendous source of content for this program, and we're all in this together, as you heard him mention. So please do so. Please like and subscribe to us over on YouTube. That would be Armed American Radio and, of course, Guns and Gadgets. And follow these stories as they're unfolding across the country. I know there's a lot going on out there. Life's a bitch. It's a pain in the ass all the way around. But, guys, understand this. If we give up on this fight, we can lose this fight. And that's not something we ever like to admit, but it's just a fact. Think about where we would be if it were not for the National Rifle Association 150-plus years ago. You wouldn't have a Second Amendment as you know it today. Think about where we'd be if it wasn't for the Second Amendment Foundation winning victory after victory after victory. You know, they're close to 90% of the pro-gun victories in courtrooms across this country were paid for, funded, and argued by Second Amendment Foundation lawyers, including 2 Supreme Court cases. And they're seeking cert now in several others, an additional 4. There's a lot happening out there, and as this fight continues, think about what happens if the Democrats take the midterms and then win the presidency in 2028. What's happening in these states that we're referring to is absolute. I can guarantee you this, 100% guarantee you this. It absolutely 100,000 gobzillion % will happen at the federal level. Then it becomes a real problem, because methinks millions of us are not going to sit down and take it. They must be stopped. So throw your support behind these state groups. Hope you're enjoying the program so far. We're having fun with you. And we'll be back at 34 after the hour with Jared Yanis for 2 more segments. Yeah, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. You heard me and Jared talking about Blackout Coffee a few minutes ago. Greg asked me how many pots or cups. I usually have fun with Greg every day on that because I wake up drinking Blackout Coffee every single day. And Blackout Coffee does defend your rights and your freedoms. Blackout Coffee donates to the very causes that we talk about here on Armed American Radio every single day. So make sure to visit them at blackoutcoffee.com, blackoutcoffee.com, and use that promo code AAR. And if you're watching any of my YouTube videos, you'll see them pop up from time to time. Click on them, and there's a QR code right up there above you. So take advantage of that and get you some Blackout Coffee. The coffee is unbelievable. I like it because it's strong, Greg. And I don't mean that from a caffeine standpoint. There is some highly caffeinated, which I do have. Got to be careful with that stuff. But I put that stuff in other, in the other Blackout too, if I'm like really tired. Like that will happen tomorrow morning. It always happens on Mondays. That much I can promise you. Let's go back over to Jared Yanis. Guns and Gadgets, YouTube fame. Jared, it's always a pleasure to have you here, brother. I love the conversation. I wish we had 3 hours with you, man. And thank you, by the way, live for taking time on hundreds of radio stations to join us and giving us your time. We do appreciate it. I know how busy you are with those YouTube videos, man. I'm learning that myself as we go down that pike. Jared, I want to keep this conversation alive from a constitutional standpoint here, and I find it fascinating that we are here. And because I do think it's easy to answer that question, that how did we get here question. And when you combine everything that's going on in the states right now, where this fight is raging right now, with that question, I'm just curious, how do you think the founders, if we could wake them up today, would view this nation knowing what these states are doing in violation of the very documents that they gave up their blood and their treasure to literally hand us, as Franklin famously said, if we can keep it? How do you think they would react?
Oh, man, I think they'd be heartbroken. literally everything they gave their lives, their families, and their fortunes to set up, we're slowly letting decay. And we are becoming exactly what they fought a war to get away from. I mean, there's not many things that we said King George did in the Declaration that King Washington, D.C. isn't doing to us. And in some cases, it's worse. Our tax rate is astronomically higher than the colonists and then the first generational Americans could ever have thought. It's sad, going through what I'm doing now with the founding documents and reading what these men wrote down for a warning for future generations. To see it happening means that there's just been 234 years since these papers were written discussing the Constitution, that we have just ignored it and let it happen. And it's very frustrating for someone who's a constitutionalist to recenter myself in that and see, like, these guys, they knew what was coming. They knew that all governments demand more power. Their job is to grow, and they never give it back. And here we are today talking about what our founders would have done here in 2026. It's crazy.
I've been honest here, and I have to admit that we have allowed a lot of this to happen. We've sat back, okay? And in the next segment, I want to have some fun with you about the 250th anniversary and all the goofball leftists bailing on Trump and his concerts. We're going to go there just for some fun. Maybe even bring some UFOs in here, guys. You never know. I know Jared's not Andy Hoosier, the voice of reason, but it's crazy stuff going on out there right now. But I am not one. Look, I'm going to say that we continued to buy into this nonsense, and just in modern terms, we continued to buy their music when they were just ragging us and berating us. We continue to watch their movies when everything they're doing outside with our money, they're donating to causes that are destroying this country. We continue to send our kids to these schools knowing what kind of education they're getting or not getting in even worse case. We continue to feed this beast. Don't we bear some responsibility here? And doesn't it make it even more important for us now to step up and go, okay, guys, we look over our shoulders. Rear view mirror is always high definition 4K. We can look back in the rear view mirror and see everything much clearer than we can looking ahead. But we do bear some responsibility here. So what comes with that responsibility now to help us right this ship? Because it is not going to happen overnight, brother. It's just not.
No, and the biggest thing for everybody that's listening to realize is that liberty does not defend itself. It never have, and it never has, and it never will. We need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Defending our rights takes effort. It takes time. Yeah, I worked an 8 or a 12-hour shift, but you know what? 15 minutes might be needed to help force something through, to get something through your state legislature. Maybe you need to donate a couple hours on a weekend after you did a 90-hour work week. That's what it takes. I mean, our forefathers gave their lives. The least we can do is give a couple hours here or there to help keep this dream alive. The only way we beat these leftists at their game is to actually beat them at their game. They're out there. They get paid protesters. Look what's happening in Newark, New Jersey tonight in the last couple nights. Those are all paid protesters that are causing havoc over ICE or NICE now. You got to call them NICE agents. It's just insane. And this all happens because we, generally speaking, have been too busy to care. And now that it's infringing on all of our lives, now we're wondering, well, what's going on? Yeah. Why didn't the previous generation stop this? It's on us. It's our job to make sure that our children and our grandchildren have a freer life than we did, and we're failing.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons that occurs, ladies and gentlemen. I've discussed it on the program for many, many years. And if you've listened to me over the last 18 years on the show, you know my level of disdain for mainstream media. And when you combine this nonsense, these phones, along with social media, and access to information 24/7, not just 24/7, but instantaneous 24/7 information. How incredible is that technology? You're watching the network news and everything that you grew up on just going by their history as a result of this kind of technology. And Jared, when you combine all of those elements together, you've got a very dangerous situation unfolding before you, because what that's done is it's bred a lot of complacency. But it's hard to blame Americans for complacency when we just want to be left alone, right? And now the nation is wanting to be left alone is not the same as complacency, is it? I mean, I think that's a good question.
No, not at all.
So we distinguish between the two, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Wanting to be left alone means let me live my life in freedom and liberty.
Right.
Let me Let me raise my kids how I want to. Let me own the things I want to. Let me carry whatever I want to defend myself. That's a little bit different than being complacent. Yeah.
Yeah, and complacency is the operative word here, though, because when you cross over from that just wanting to be left alone to becoming complacent, that's how you get this creep, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why when you look back, and if you're honest with yourselves, and you look back over your shoulder, what have I done? And you know, Jared, I go to guys like Jim Irvine, for example, Phil Van Cleve. These guys work regular 9-to-5 jobs, own their businesses. For crying out loud, Jim Irvine is an American Airlines pilot flying all over the world, flying all of us around, and finds time to spend his free time away from his family, who I know very well, to donate his time to fight for the rights of Ohio residents. And he is responsible in large measure personally for a lot of what happened when Ohio got its permit to carry and then later constitutional carry and regained its freedoms. The amount of effort and time it takes, and thank you for mentioning that because it is so true. It's when you've got to, guys, when you hear the old phrase, you got to reach down and grab yourself and pull yourself up by the bootstraps. We're tired, man. I mean, we're at Armed American Radio 6-7 days a week. You're at Guns and Gadgets 7 days a week. And if there was 8 and 10 days in a week, you'd be at it there too. That absolutely is what it takes. And you know, you're shaking your head. I see you the grin. 100% that's what it takes. And it's not easy to do, ladies and gentlemen. It's just flat out not easy to do. But it has to be done, Jared, particularly now, or we could lose this whole shebang, couldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I try to look at it like this. We're all we have. There's nobody coming to save America. America's out there saving the damn country. But when this stuff starts to fail and fall apart, ain't nobody coming to save us. Not a country is coming with ships or planes to save America. We are all we have, guys and gals. If liberty dies here in the great United States of America, it's dead worldwide. So it's on us to save it. You know, who else but us is a great saying. You know, who else but me? It's time for us to all be part of this action. And I will say, congratulations to Texas for taking that attitude and getting rid of John Cornyn.
Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. We're going to go there when we come back. Guys, in the next segment, we're going to loosen up a little bit and have some fun with you. You know, Martina McBride, I don't even know who she is, whatever. They're a bunch of whiny liberal scumbags bailing on Trump. But wait till you heard what he said earlier today in a True Social post. We'll be back with Jared right after the break. Don't go away. Hey, guys, a quick shout out to some of the new faces I see over in the chat. Can't call them faces. I guess I can call them faces. It's great to have you here. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Rapsnick, I've seen you in there before. Of course, TX Huntsman's in there. Martin's all over it. In there, Martin was asking a question about the podcast. Everything's in the works, guys. They're 7-day work weeks. They're 8-day work weeks. Trust me, we'll get there when we can. And there was a lot of nuance that went on behind the scenes with the podcast. Still going on behind the scenes, because when we do it for you, we want it to be 100% right. And I did get some questions too on the winner of the CCR KBA giveaway. Let me make this very clear. We have got a winner, but we've not heard from that winner yet. So we're giving that person a little bit more time to respond to us. If that person does not, we're going to select a new winner. And as soon as that name is drawn, we're going to let you know. So keep your eyes on your emails, because it's one of you who won it. And you'll be getting an email from the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms. So keep that in mind, okay? Watch your emails. Make sure to check your spam folders. And if you're watching over on YouTube, please like and comment and subscribe. We need the assistance over there. We are continuing to grow there like crazy, up several 100% over the last few months. We want to keep that momentum building, and we need you to do it. Also, our newest sponsors, Cove Pure Water. Great stuff. We have it at the house. In fact, here we go again. I'll bring that back up. That's my unit at the home, and the stuff is dynamite, so make sure to take advantage of it. PendletonsAfes.com. Check those safes out over there. There's nothing like them anywhere else. They are the absolute real deal, one of a kind. If you stress when you open your gun safe like I do, no more. I'm striving for one. Give me 90 days. I'll figure it out, and so will you. We're coming back with Jared just about 10 seconds, so stick with us. I'll stay on camera with you. Cut the mic for you, though. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. AttorneysOnRetainer.us is the real deal. I'm bringing Jared back up for this one because Jared knows Attorneys on Retainer very well also, and is a card-carrying member, just like I am, guys. I'm smart enough to know, because I had to pull a firearm on 2 people back in 2002. You can read about it in my book, Lessons from Armed America, and you can probably dig up the old column, The Importance of Carrying Your Gun 100% of the Time. This didn't exist back then, and thankfully I didn't need it, but good heavens, I could have, okay? And if you carry a gun, you know bad things can happen. I don't care where you live. I don't care what side of the tracks you're on. And when it happens, it's going to happen just like this. And this is the card you need, because this is the equivalent of carrying up to 4 lawyers in your pocket at one time, because that's how many will be sitting at your table if you find yourself having to go to court simply for defending yourself. And it's attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. Jared, give us your promo code as well and tell people where to go. Big fans of Jared.
G&G.
What is it?
Yeah, G&G, like guns and gadgets.
For guns and gadgets. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Just get the Attorney on Retainer program, and we're going to save you $50. Jared, I think it's running through the month of June, right? The additional $50 off. So
it's actually through the end of July in celebration of America's 250.
To 250, so it's been extended. See, ladies and gentlemen, behind the 8 ball here. We appreciate Jared. He's a wealth of information. All right, guys, welcome back. Support all of our partners. You can find them all, including Blackout Coffee and Cove Pure, Pendleton Safes, all at armedamericanradio.com. Okay, so Martina McBride, I could trip over this person and not know who she is. And I'll be honest with you, okay? I don't listen to a lot of that music, all right? Don't really care about it. But what pains me is to see, I guess about 15 quote-unquote artists have begun bailing on Trump and his 250th anniversary concert. They're too stupid to understand that this is about 250 years of this nation, including the presidents that they themselves supported. So what does that say about them, Jared? And Trump's response was great. You know what? We'll kick them to the curb and have a rally. The hell with all of them. What does that say? This is how bad it is?
Yeah, we are so divided by design that people can't get their head out of the derriere and realize we're celebrating the country,
right,
not the person in the White House. You know, it's crazy that you have entertainers who think that they are political pundits, or that somebody cares so much about a Martina McBride song that they're going to give up on the country, like she thinks she's that important. It's just it's ridiculous. You know, and I'm sure we'll see more, because that's how the blue hairs operate, man. They just flock together. One leaves, they all leave.
Yeah, you know, I get the word here, the operative word in this discussion is a level of arrogance that is just beyond the pale. And, you know, guys like Bruce Springsteen, who, you know, look, I never liked Bruce Springsteen's music. Yeah, right. I never liked his music when I was a kid, and I'm old enough when his albums were coming out, okay? I never bought a Bruce Springsteen album. I just wasn't a fan of his music. The Grateful Dead as well. I hope I'm not making any enemies there, but that wasn't my cup of tea. I liked stuff a little bit harder. But Springsteen out there thinking that, people really give a crap what he says. Well, I guess I'm not to a point, I know I'm not at the point, Jared, where I've got so much money that I don't need the other half's money anymore. I'd like to get to that point, okay? But that's where they are. It's hard for us to wrap our heads around that, but that is exactly what they must think and feel. They don't care about taking any money from the other half. And do they actually believe what's coming out of their mouths, or is it just a PR stunt, do you think?
Oh, no, I think some of these guys and gals drink the Kool-Aid, man. I think they truly believe that, the only way to the promised land is through the Democrat Party. Even though you can look at all the failures of that ultra-left side of that party. But people just, whatever, they have blinders on, and so be it. That's their right to be that way, but right. You can't force it on me.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I gave a little dissertation on this on Andy Hoosier's show yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, on the Voice of Reason. The podcast is up. You want to go give it a listen. The way I feel about this is we're going to go on without you. And this is what I love about America. This is something I'll say to them that they would never say to me. You're still welcome to join us. You're welcome to join us. We're talking about the country. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the United States. The country that Barack Obama was president of. I saw an SUV in front of me yesterday, Jared, that had Barack Obama, still my president, on it. Okay. I'm not one of these guys that wanted to throw a snow cone out the window at him and start a road rage incident. He's allowed to have that bumper sticker on his car. I think he looks pretty stupid at this point. I chuckled at it. But that's what makes America great, is that people can do those things. And we are at a point in this country, guys, all you got to do, and I'm not encouraging anybody to go out there and sign up and get a Twitter account, because it's just a cesspool of hate. But if you have it, all you got to just follow Chris Murphy. Follow Chris Murphy and watch what he says all day long. It's just utterly mind-boggling. The hatred for Donald Trump is so real and so vicious that they can't get it. They just can't get past it. With the last couple minutes we have, I got to talk to you about flying saucers, bro. You've got sitting congressmen. Okay. You got Burchett. You got Anna Paulina Luna. You and I know these people personally, okay? And they are sitting at hearings. We've got some of the smartest brains in America bringing this information out. And I got to go back all the way to 1989 to Bob Lazar, who worked at Area 51 that they tried to deny, who said there's a section there called S. Everything he said is all coming out now. What do you make of this stuff, man?
Man, I don't know. I'm not one of those X-Files type people who want to believe, but I do think that our government would absolutely lie to us if they did find something and maybe reverse engineer that to better their weaponry. But yeah, when you hear Tim say it and you hear Anna say it, you know that they're actually seeing this stuff because they're trustworthy. And it just makes you wonder, what else is the government hiding? I mean, I don't trust anything the government says. And in fact, anything they do say, it's usually the opposite for me. It's crazy. But I did like Trump's video that he put out, actually the White House put out about the aliens. Yeah. And they had a flying saucer, and actually it was the illegal aliens. It was chef's kiss.
And I got to tell you, I honestly believe that they're going to disclose something to us. And I found it fascinating when Dr. Phil did a 1-hour podcast on this exact topic about, ladies and gentlemen, you had better prepare yourselves because they're getting, I don't care what you think about it, they're getting ready to tell you things that are literally going to blow your mind. And he did it in his Dr. Phil way, And it's just, to me, it's utterly remarkable that we're here. But yeah, the big takeaway is exactly what you just said. We can't trust anything that comes out of these people's mouths. Nothing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the big picture. It's why everything that you just heard with Jared and I comes and falls under one thing: our constitutional rights and the founders. That's what we're celebrating 250 years for, folks. And Jared, sadly, man, I hate to admit this, but we're this close to losing it, brother. And I never thought I would say that in my adult life in this country. What a change from when you and I grew up as kids to where we are today. We've got 30 seconds. Take it away.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I do hope the people out there listening, I hope that this conversation has maybe reignited that fire about liberty and individual liberty at that, and to maybe do the best you can, whether it's joining a group, skipping a pizza for a month and donating to these crews, because that's how much it is. It's a pizza, because they need it. They're the ones who are fighting in the courts. and they deserve our support because we're going to be the
60.
beneficiaries of their efforts. So it's only right to support them. 2 questions for you, Mark. First, was that car with the bumper sticker, was it a Prius? And 2, is Hillary Clinton one of the lizard people?
You know, yeah, I'm going to have to say Hillary Clinton is one of the lizard people. If
Yes,
she's
yes.
not, she is certainly knows where the rest of them are, and some of them are in her family. And it was not a Prius, believe it or not. It was a Maserati SUV, about a $75,000 base car. Hey, you know, I guess they fell for the communism. Hey, Jared, thanks for being here. Guys, it's Guns and Gadgets, YouTube. Make sure to follow him. Subscribe over there, like, hit the little notification button. So he's on every day for you, feeding you the truth. Jared, thank you for everything you do, brother. We appreciate it. We love you. Thanks for being on the program. Guys, that's Jared Yanis from Guns and Gadgets. When we come back, a classic Armed American Radio Roundtable with Ryan, Brad, and Justin. We'll be right back. Guys, that was a great hour with Jared. I hope you enjoyed that. He is so fun to have on the program. There's a handful of guests that come on a regular basis. Jared, Cam Edwards, and AWR, John Lott, that just make all of us better at what we do and what we fight for, because these guys like you as viewers and listeners, I know it comes from your heart. It does. It's inside all of us, but we have got to step up to the plate. I never thought when I started doing this years ago, now nearing 20 years, did I ever think that we would be having to defend freedom and gun rights in states like Arizona, in states like Georgia, in states like Florida, in states like Virginia? Yeah, you expect it behind the blue wall, and that's where the fight is. And we're going to continue to win these fights. We're going to continue to battle them. They may outspend us, but here's the one thing they don't have that we do, and that's the Constitution. We get it. They know that. That's why they're fighting the way they're fighting now. The scary part about it is we can lose it. And right now, as we speak, the left is working behind the scenes to try to bring you a packed Supreme Court, D.C. statehood for Puerto Rico, to cement 100% power, absolute, for themselves. And that means a loss of all of your rights. And you need only look at what's happening in the states that we've been focusing on right now. And that's states like Arizona, particularly Virginia, Connecticut, Maryland, and Delaware, as these battles are raging right now. So as Jared mentioned, it's a pizza, guys. If you can do it, it's a huge help. AZCDL desperately needs our help. VCDL desperately needs our help. Florida Carry, believe it or not, desperately needs our help. And CCDL in Connecticut fighting these scumbags up there, it's free to join. Just go there and put your name on the roll. It is absolutely free to do. You can get out of all 3 of those groups for about $125 for a year. And you're a member of every single one of them, and we really need you on those rolls. Make sure to check out all of our partners. We're going to be back at 6 minutes after with the Roundtable crew. Time for us to take what we refer to in radio as a biology break. We'll be right back with you. Guys, when we come back with the roundtable crew, I am really, really looking forward to getting the opinions from Brad, Ryan, and Justin Moon on this Glock situation going on in Connecticut since Lamont signed that bill on Friday. The court case in the Third Circuit, I want to focus with the guys on that a little bit because of the 17 state attorneys general that are supporting this nonsense. 17 states AGs are supporting the destruction of your rights, literally supporting it in a brief at the Third Circuit. Now, they are going to have a tougher time in the Third Circuit than they would if it were in the Fourth Circuit, fortunately. But the battle is real, and the money being spent is real. And they're literally fighting to screw you out of your rights. It is utterly mind-boggling, but their creativity knows no bounds, as we talked about in the first segment of the first hour of the broadcast today. They will never stop. Ryan, I'm sure, will remind us of that today when he comes on. He always does. So stick around for us. We'll be back in, what do we got, about 4 minutes now for you, coming back for the Classic Armed American Radio Roundtable. We should have Ryan Petty on camera with you. And, of course, we'll have Brad and Justin Moon with you on the phone. Maybe put up a cool graphic of the roundtable, maybe. And, again, don't forget to visit our great partners. Guys, I'm telling you, this thing here is really cool. If you can find it in you to grab this thing. Now, like I said, my wife, a cancer survivor, it was just weird. It's just the way the universe works sometimes. Like, kind of like one of those deals. I've had it happen to me on more than one occasion, sadly, where you're thinking, man, I haven't had a flat tire in a while. Later that day, somewhere you got a flat tire. It's kind of what happened here was that my wife was shocked that I bought this unit.
All right, Ryan is currently on the phone. He's not on the Opal, and he can't quite get the camera just yet.
Okay, no problem. We'll wait for Ryan. If he has to, we can stay on the phone. But, guys, yeah, make sure to check this out. It was an uncanny experience when I found out my wife was looking at the exact same one. And now we have it, and the thing is fantastic. Give them a shot. And that's Cove Pure Water. Blackout coffee up there. In fact, let me flip that widget for you up there. And there's the Cove Pure Water. If you want to take a look at that for the next couple of minutes during the break, do that. Just point your phone at that, point your camera at that, and take a look at it. You will save $250 off. I use the same code, guys. So do that if you would be so kind. And if you've been looking for one of these units, man, this thing's the real deal. And you'll get $250 off. If you don't go to that AAR page, you'll get $50 off. So get the $250 off. That's the smart thing to do. Like I tell my kids, if you saw $200 bills laying on the ground, would you bend down and pick them up? Yeah, you would. So take advantage of it, right? And take a look over at PendletonSafes.com, PendletonSafes.com. This the best of the best at Pendleton Safes. No more mess, man. No more mess in your safe ever again. I can't wait to get one. I'm working on it. That's one of those goals I'm aspiring to. I've looked at those for 2 years, and I've got to get one. So take advantage of it. Got some great partners out there for you. Be back here in about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Hey, guys, welcome in. Hour 3 of Armed American Radio's Monstercast begins right now. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. If you're watching us on YouTube, we would appreciate a subscribe, like, and hit that little bell, get the notifications. We're putting at least 2 videos out for you a day. We're growing over there, and we need your help to do so, and it's been really fun to take back some of that social media that they fought us on for years. Greg in Dallas, Texas, how you doing? Introducing a couple new partners today, and back in.
Well, thank you. It's been a nice vacation, and here we are back doing the thing again.
I missed you, man. I missed you, man. Oh, Bobby does a great job. We love Bobby.
Yeah,
We've worked with him for years and years. He's a great guy. I've known Bobby for almost 20 years, but we missed you, man. Why don't you tell everybody where they can watch? We did. We missed you, man. Where they can participate on all the fun stuff, and we'll get cracking and go around the table with the crew.
All right, sure. You can watch the show over on YouTube. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. You can also watch us over on X. Just search for @AAR Mark. And, of course, you can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com. Hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And if you'd like to join our live chats, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
And that will do it. Who called in first?
Ryan, actually.
Ryan called in first. Let's welcome in, brother.
Doing good, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I can't wait to have this conversation with you tonight, Justin. I have been looking forward to this. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Moon, fan favorite. You're going to find out why in this hour, I promise you. Who'd you say called in first? Ryan Petty did?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's go over to Brad Primo. Brad Primo, CEO of Lead Slingers, former combat vet, and gosh darn it, former law enforcement officer. Brad, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing good, and I can't wait to hear your responses to some of these topics that we're going to talk about tonight, because we're talking about constitutional issues in the framework of what the anti-gun states are currently up to. And is Ryan Petty on the line with us? We have Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan.
Let's go to Ryan Petty. Ryan, how you doing today, man?
I'm feeling I'm doing fine. I'm feeling a little bit like the redheaded stepchild, but that's all right.
We're just funning with you. Guys, Ryan usually jumps on camera with us, and he's unable to do that. So I got to ask this question, Ryan. Where in the world is Ryan Petty right now?
I am in a undisclosed location near Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that's an undisclosed location, all right. Washington, D.C., no question about it. All right, since we went to you last, I want to start the conversation with you first. Okay, let's go there. Guys, I have been talking about, and we just spent a fantastic hour with Jared Yanis from Guns and Gadgets discussing this in a constitutional framework with what's happening in Virginia. Because we now have, and I can report, guys, if you didn't know this, when I started the show, I believed it was 8 prosecutors now refusing to prosecute the anti-gun bills that Virginia has just passed, including the public carry restrictions that have been put on citizens by this draconian regime, and, of course, the quote-unquote assault firearms bill. That number is now up to 10 prosecutors, and we've got a sheriff now in Clark County, Virginia, who has said, no, I'm not making any arrests on any of these bills. And we've got a real smart-ass comment from Sadim Aziz, Halil, whatever his name is, the guy who wasn't born here that's trying to strip Americans in the state of Virginia of their constitutional rights, and did so with the passage of the bill, telling prosecutors, nah, you take your little constitutional game-playing rookie selves and basically telling them who's boss, Ryan, in your face. So from a constitutional framework, we talk about that. Connecticut, the Glock bans was just signed by Lamont last week. The ban in Maryland, etc. Let's discuss this constitutionally, because this is bigger than all of that little stuff together in the framework of our Constitution. Ryan, I'll let you take it from there. Have at it, brother.
Well, I think we should start with shall not be infringed, and which part of that does the Virginia legislature, and that for that matter, the legislatures in any blue state, not understand, right? So now they're infringing. And, there's that quote, the better part of valor is discretion. I think we're seeing both law enforcement and prosecutors exercising some valor in using discretion about whether or not they're going to enforce laws that, quite frankly, are going to be, at some point, shown to be unconstitutional. So why put somebody in jail for a constitutionally protected activity and a right just to ruin their lives for a few months before the Supreme Court rules on all this stuff and throws it all away? So I appreciate the valor that they're exhibiting, and we need a little bit more of it.
Yeah, well said. Brad, let me go to you. Here's a quote from Salim, whatever his name is, who wrote the bill that Spanberger signed. Now, take a listen to the level of arrogance here. I know these Republican prosecutors see this as an opportunity for tough guy posturing and amateur constitutional lawyering. Wow. But ending the sale of assault weapons in Virginia isn't something an individual prosecutor can do anything about, Brad. And then he added, local prosecutors don't enforce, they prosecute. And my message to anyone thinking about breaking Virginia law is don't bet on Virginia law enforcement ignoring it. If he were saying that to you directly, number one, would you take that as a threat? Number two, in an FCC-friendly way, how would you respond to this clown?
Yeah. Your second question is pretty challenging there, Mark.
I know it is. Trust me, I've been in front of the mic for the last 2.5 hours.
You know, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I just kind of first take, I'm just really tired of people whose names I can't pronounce, who sound like the name of Star Wars characters, defining or telling me as an American, you know, what we have rights to and what we should be willing to accept or not accept from our government. That man probably shouldn't even be allowed to be in the country, let alone be, you know, legislating, you know, away Americans' rights. But let's assume he has a right to be here. You know what? Like the people he's talking to, they all have a constitutional duty in their elected positions to defend and uphold the Constitution. And as Ryan alluded to, you know, shall not be infringed is pretty clear language. And, you know, it's about time. We do need people who are in those positions to actually stand up and say, you know what, like, we're not doing it. And just not going to do it. And there's actually really not much that Virginia can actually force those people to do because of the Constitution. So, you know, he can talk tough all he wants, but really he's kind of on a losing end of this because he doesn't really have any mechanisms or leverage to pull to force these people in these positions to actually do, you know, unconstitutional things to the citizens of Virginia.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that you bring up. Justin Moon, when you hear that quote, and I'll read it again, I know these Republican prosecutors see this as an opportunity for tough guy posturing and amateur constitutional lawyering, but ending the sale of assault weapons in Virginia isn't something an individual prosecutor can do anything about. My message to anyone thinking about breaking Virginia law is don't bet on Virginia law enforcement ignoring it. How do you, to me, this is an utter arrogance. How do you hear that? How would you respond if he were to say that directly to your face?
I don't know. I mean, Virginia has a long history of, and it has a lot of patriots there. I think if they push too hard on trying to enforce this unconstitutional law, there's going to be a lot of people going out on a pile of brass.
You know, there is a threat, and this is something, ladies and gentlemen, that is sadly very real in this country today. The fact that that's even discussed should be a concern to everybody. And I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's all brought to you by the Democrat Party. Ryan, is it not?
They seem to be the ones that are wanting to infringe on constitutional rights. I mean, look, we've talked about this before. What they're trying to do, the end game here, is to disarm Americans so that they can push through their idea of democracy, which is majority rule. They believe that they will have the natural majority going forward as a political movement, and they want to dismantle the constitutional protections we have, like the Electoral College and the way we used to elect as senators. They want to dismantle all those things and get to a pure democracy because they believe they can take over at that point. But they know they can't take over if the citizenry is armed. And so infringing on our Second Amendment rights is an important part of their long-term strategy, part of the playbook. And they haven't been able to do it at the federal level, so they're doing it at the state level. That's where they're doing it.
They fear you, ladies and gentlemen. They fear you, as they are supposed to, as an armed citizenry. This is why the Second Amendment was written the way it's written. And the Democrats know that, and they hate that, because an armed citizenry will keep them in check, and they know it. And that statement makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Too bad for you. Deal with it. Go back to civics class. That's just the way it is. We've got 3 more segments to go. We're going to have some fun with the crew. We'll be right back. Guys will be back with the crew here in about 3 minutes. Yeah, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom on hundreds of radio stations across the nation and to the, 24 news stations, something like that. Not enough time to go into all of them. You know who you are. Welcome to the program. It's an honor to be bringing the program to your city. I can promise you that. We'll have a new report from end of month coming out in June. First week of June usually comes out around the 4th or the 5th, and we'll let you know probably about some new affiliates as well. Guys, paired up for you at the Patriot Mobile Command Center. We couldn't do it without our partners, so please go out of your way to visit all of our great partners, okay? Just click on them. Take a look at them. They're the best of the best. That's why they're here. They're all available for you, including PatriotMobile.com, the National Rifle Association, and the rest. And join those organizations, those states' organizations. We are putting a large focus on Arizona Citizens Defense League, AZCDL. Please join them. It's $40 for the year. Virginia Citizens Defense League is $25 for the year. Florida Carry, visit floridacarry.org. We'll be talking more about Florida Carry coming up beginning tomorrow. And, of course, Connecticut Citizens Defense League. These four organizations, they just put to bed yesterday their New England Conference. Can't wait to have Holly back on the program to talk a little bit about that. She was the one that put that together, and it's just a huge job she did. She's also a member of the board of directors for the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms with me over with Alan Gottlieb and the Second Amendment Foundation. Great group of people over there fighting every day. I won't say behind the scenes because they're out there publicly, ladies and gentlemen, wearing it on their sleeve. So support them. And to join CCDL, how easy is it? It's free. Just go there and join. Put your name on the roll. Join. Help swell their ranks because there's power in numbers. I'm going to go to Brad Primo. Brad, you're a former law enforcement. I'm going to read you a statement from Clark County Commonwealth Attorney Matthew Bass and Sheriff of Clark County Travis Sumption. And this is what they said together in a joint statement. For decades, the Supreme Court of the United States has repeatedly affirmed that the United States Constitution guarantees the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Likewise, the Constitution of Virginia recognizes the same right. Beyond that, Clark County is a rural jurisdiction with a long-standing proud tradition of firearms ownership, hunting, recreational shooting, self-defense, and family protection. On January 6, 2020, these federal and states' rights, along with our local traditions, were memorialized via resolution with the unanimous bipartisan support of the Clark County Board of Supervisors. In that context, new laws from Richmond, primarily relating to 1, the purchase, sale, transfer, possession, or transportation of firearms, ammunition, or magazines that have been lawful prior to July 1, 2026, and 2, expanded public carry restrictions, threaten the integrity of federal and state legal principles equally recognized as fundamentally important to the citizens of Clark County. Now, Brad, when you hear that threat, and Justin, I'll bring this to you and back to you, Ryan, as well. When you hear that threat from that bonehead, Salim whatever, you said the Star Wars guy, we'll just call him Star Wars, I like that. When you hear that threat from him in the face of this, from law enforcement, this is a butting of the heads, buddy, okay? How do you see this play out? Because it's only going to get worse, or in this case, better, because more law enforcement and prosecutors are going to swell these ranks. How do you see this play out in the long run?
I mean, I think it's going to play out differently depending on what region of the country you're in. I will say this, and anybody listening, you understand that probably two of the most important local elections you can vote in are for sheriff and for district attorney. Those are both constitutional positions, and I'm going to tell you, like, a lot of the men and women who are working for the sheriff's office, your police departments, most of them, the vast majority of them, they want to do the right thing. They're the type of people who want to do what's right. They want to see justice served. They want to make their communities safe, and they want to make them better. The caveat is they're going to take a lot of their cues of what is right or what needs to be done. They're going to take those cues from the people at the top. And so you need to make sure that the people at the top are the ones who actually are making statements like this, sheriff, to respect the Constitution. They're going to make a stand and say, look, you know what? I'm a constitutionally mandated position. I've been elected by the people. There's literally nothing you can do to make me do something I don't want to do in to have that type of stand. So when you're thinking about voting for a sheriff or district attorney, if you get a chance to ask them a question, make them answer these questions. They need to be on the record. Like, where do you stand if X, Y, and Z happens? What are you going to do? Like, what is your philosophy? Because, you know, that's what's going to guide their actions when the chips are down. And you need somebody that has steel in their spine that's going to, like, make a stand and not cave. And so, look, you know what? Like, unfortunately, there's probably a lot of sheriffs up in New York, New Jersey, and places like that, California, that the system they've been raised in and the cesspool they've come up in, the Constitution is a theoretical idea to them. It's not an actual document. It's not a guiding principle. You know, unfortunately, the people who live in those areas, you've probably got an uphill battle. I think there's a lot of places in Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, like all across the Southeast, which, funny enough, the Democrats want you to believe that we're the rebels, we're the ones that, you know, hate democracy. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you look around the country, you know, probably some of the fiercest defenders of democracy or republic, you know, our form of government are going to be down here in the Southeast because we believe in individual freedoms in most of these states.
Yeah, and
so,
it's still under attack, though,
yeah.
and that's why we're not even safe behind the red wall. Justin, on the micro level here, on the butting of the heads, we've got a governor who has so far remained silent as the number of prosecutors refusing to prosecute her edicts grows. And we're no doubt going to have more sheriffs across the great Commonwealth of Virginia that are going to be getting a little bit more vocal, like Sumption did here. Do you think the Virginia governor when you hear a threat like that coming from the idiot who wrote the bill, but it's the governor's, it's Spanberger's signature on this bill. You expect her to remain silent? Do you think she'll push back publicly on this, or do you think she's just too much of a coward and will just let it play out and move on to something else because it's not good for her politically and it's getting worse for her politically? I don't think her ego will allow her to do that. That's my personal opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, these crazy Dems, I think they're going to try to push it as far as they can. I think they're trying to, trigger a civil war or something because they're definitely not backing off.
Well, no, and they're not backing off, and that's a legitimate statement. You have to wonder. They have to know, Ryan, they have to know that Americans will fight for our rights and our freedoms. And, Justin mentioned it at the outset. Go back and look at Virginia's history relative to the founding of this country. We don't have enough time to go into that. But good heavens, are they that stupid? Or do they know, and that is what they're trying to do?
Well, I think they'd love nothing more than a provocation and a reaction. They call, leftists call conservatives reactionaries, right, for a reason. And they do want to provoke. And the idea being that if we react in a violent way, it somehow validates the very legislation they've passed, because then they say, well, look, we needed this legislation because there's those crazies out there that carry these firearms, and look what they did. They're violent, just like we told you, right? So that's what they want to have happen. I think cooler heads will prevail. I think we've got some good. We got to get the Supreme Court moving.
There you go.
That's the safety valve. That's the safety valve we need.
You're absolutely spot on about this. We wouldn't even be here if the Supreme Court had gotten off their duffs and taken that Fourth Circuit case. Guys, we've got 2 more segments with the table. We'll be right back right after the break. Don't go away. Guys, I'm tossing these beautiful Pendleton safes back up for you to take a look at. We're going to be talking a lot about Pendleton over the course of the next few months. And all I can tell you is I think you can tell by looking at these products how beautiful they are. Ryan Petty's been with me at a couple of conventions across the country, and we've had the opportunity to see these things in person. And they're works of art. They're manufactured right here in the state of Georgia. A fantastic family-owned company, the Pendleton family, Bruce and his son Gordon running this company. And if you take a look, let me see if I can blow that up a little bit here for you. Take a look at this safe right here, and you get an idea of what I'm talking about. My safe looks nothing like this, guys. My guns are not that organized in my safe because it's not built and designed that way. But all of this, when you look at it all rotates, and it's all controllable by you, and it's silent. The humidification systems in these things are top notch. Over 400 LED lights in these things. You can see it. They're gorgeous. They're just absolutely gorgeous. But your gun comes to you. So no more mismanagement. And they will actually build it based on the number of firearms you tell them that you have. which makes it even that much more beautiful. Or you can just pick up the generic one right off the shelf, or right off the floor, I should say. And the design in these things is incredible. You've got everything from valuables, and each individual safe does something a little bit different. And I got to tell you, I mean, the side-by-sides over here, just like, wow, okay, beautiful. And like I said, these are not your big box safes. You're not going to find these things, you know, at your Cabela's or your local gun shop. No question about it. But they are, man, bucket list safe for me. Notice at the top, this rotates up here, across the top, right in here. And you can lay some valuables up there. It caps up there, everything else. Gorgeous stuff. PendletonSafes.com, Pendleton, Safes, SAFES.com. Make sure to give them a look. They're the real deal. Coming back to you right now. Welcome back to the show, guys. Regarding Blackout Coffee, if you like to watch the program, we've just switched the QR code for you right up there in one of the corners, depending on which way my camera is mirroring right now on the screen for you. If you're watching on your television sets or your devices, and over at YouTube, please like and subscribe. We need your help, and many, many of you are doing that, and we do appreciate it. But that is a Blackout Coffee QR code. You can just point your phone at that. Boom, goes right to blackoutcoffee.com/AAR, and take your pick, man. It's all good. We get the rotating. It comes out, the coffee of the month is the one we get. And we've just enjoyed trying every single one of them. The one thing I can tell you that's consistent across the whole spectrum, regardless of the coffee itself, is the fact that it's just good, strong coffee. And by that, I don't mean caffeinated. They have the high caffeine content if you want it over there, but the flavor of it itself, it's just good, it's rich, it's bold. And I will promise you I'll be starting my day tomorrow, Greg. I'm not even going to bother asking you on the Monday show. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'll definitely be starting with a pot tomorrow morning. Generally does. We
little
generally
main
do on
vein.
Mondays. Yeah, little main vein for Monday morning. And we're going to get up and join Cam Edwards on Cam and Company tomorrow as well. Guys, make sure to check out all of our great partners in Blackout Coffee, Pendleton Safes, and Cove Pure Water. Check those out. All there for you. PatriotMobile.com, ArmedAmericanRadio.com has it all. Let's go back over to the table. Brad, I want to go back to you. We stopped with Ryan, and I've got to go back to this law enforcement thing for just a second with you, Brad, because you were in law enforcement. And what I see happening here, and I could be wrong, but I want to look at let's take an individual circumstance. Let's take a case where this Aziel Star Wars guy and Spanberger and Jones, this AG, get wind of the fact that, I don't know, maybe Sheriff Sumption should have made an arrest in their eyes. They find out he didn't and is openly defying them, which he has already said he's going to do. What recourse will they seek against that sheriff and against that county prosecutor? How do you see it on an individual level, on a case-by-case basis? How do you see that push, that tug of war playing out? Because it's likely to happen.
Yeah, and that's a good question. I mean, I think that no doubt in my mind, and even probably now, the wheels are turning for personal destruction. Okay, so any public official that comes out and defies them, their agents are going to be working round the clock to find ways to personally destroy these people. If they didn't check a box on their tax form, who knows what. Beyond that, they'll probably probe ways, if there's any legal recourse they can have, which probably isn't going to be any. So they'll probably resort to what the Democrats have been doing now, which is when they can't win, they try to change the rules of the game. And so they'll be advocating some sort of change to how sheriffs are elected, how prosecutors are elected. They'll try to change the rules of the game to rig it in their favor, and to ensure that the people actually have no say in their own government.
Yeah, I think you're right. I could see the affair card coming out. I mean, you're right. The dirty politics, the politics of personal destruction. That's a great point. I hadn't even thought about that one. But, yeah, that's likely in play. And don't think for 2 seconds that they're not. They're probably looking into these people already right now to see what they can dig up. They're absolutely doing it. These are dirty, evil. They're just monsters. It is what it is. Justin, I'm not sure how to frame this. Let me put it this way. What does it say about a state government or an individual governor working blindly with her party in such a clearly partisan ideological way that they just don't give an FCC unfriendly word about what happens to the rest of their state and the people and the concern? What makes it so that they would do this to their own state, knowing they're going to get this level of pushback? Maybe they didn't expect to get this level of pushback. I don't know. They had to believe that. But what does that say about the people themselves that would do this to their own state and their own residents? Justin, you with me?
Yeah, I'm with
There
you.
we go. What does that say about these people, Justin, that they just don't care enough about clearly half or even more than half of their own state residents, that they would do this to them?
Yeah, I think they're trying to push us. They're trying to push us, to get something going, because right now it's a very interesting time in our country. So let's just hope that cooler heads prevail and somehow we're able to get the Supreme Court to make a final ruling.
Well, that's my next go around. And Ryan, I think you answered that question before, so I'll forego that with you. But Justin, let me stay on the Supreme Court with you right now. I mentioned as we were going to the break, we wouldn't be here if the Supreme Court had simply taken that Snopes case. Now, I have to believe in hindsight, because I'm sure there are Supreme Court justices that live on the other side of the Potomac in the state of Virginia that are very well aware from a personal human standpoint as a resident of the state themselves. And I could be wrong about that. I don't know how many live there, but I'm sure 1 or 2 or 3 do. But besides that, Justin, do you think they realize they made a mistake and probably should have taken one? And if that's the case, how come they haven't yet? Because they've got cases sitting at conference with them that they could take tomorrow. And do you think this prods them to do that quicker in the post-Bruin environment, since they didn't take the Snopes case and they've seen what happened in their own state?
I don't know. They seem to be letting these cases work their way up through the state courts, and I guess they want to give it more time so that the Democrats can, express their frustrations with their rulings. I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that either. Ryan, try to get into their heads is difficult to do. But from the human standpoint, they also wake up and put their shoes on just like you do. They get up and eat toast for breakfast and start their workday just like we do. They just do it in robes. How do you think this plays out with the Supreme Court? Is this the impetus to push it? Are they getting antsy? Do they know by not taking that case that this was going to happen? Because let's face it, they let it happen in Virginia. They've got to know that.
Yeah, they do, and I don't know if they were just look. I've said this 100 times on this show. I'm not a lawyer. I don't want to get in their heads, by the way. But it's the Roberts Court has been a bit it's been a bit of a disappointment in my mind. I don't understand exactly why they choose the cases that they choose and why they don't choose others. I know there's some element. Giving them the benefit of the doubt. I know there's some element of them wanting to have the right case, so that they can settle these issues once and for all. And so sometimes they're waiting for that really good case to come along.
Yeah.
But they have waited and waited and waited to the point where Democrats have now figured out that they can bypass Bruin at the state level by banning the carrying of firearms in so many places, making it so inconvenient that it's really impossible to exercise the right. Now,
can only imagine the outcry by the Democrats
20.
if Republicans went this far. I mean, we're just asking for, if we went this far on voter ID, we're just asking for people to have ID and be citizens of the United States and be allowed to, before they be allowed to vote. And you see them screaming and crying and talking about, denying rights and threatening democracy. On the flip side, look at what they're doing with this legislation. It's absolutely anti-constitutional, and the Supreme Court's going to have to step up.
Ryan, these politicians,
or there will be violence.
They should be prosecuted, trying to enforce unconstitutional rules under the color of law. Unbelievable. When we come back, we're going to talk Trump. Don't go away. The iPad is not cooperating with me today, ladies and gentlemen. Not since an update.
All right. Coming up on last segment.
Yeah, I can't believe that. You're live on the screen, by the way, too, Greg.
All right.
I hate it when inanimate objects fight me back, man. I hate it.
Yep.
Makes you want to throw it out in the creek behind the house here at the ranch. So I'll just put a little picture of Huey up on that thing, and that's good enough for me. There's little Huey, guys. Can't show her to you. Could put a picture of her up for you. You guys want to see Huey? Let's see if I can dig up a picture of Huey for you real quick. Here's little Huey. Here's Huey standing next to that beautiful Gibson ES335. I had the headphones on. I was being nice to the family and the neighbors. Not too long ago. This picture was taken yesterday. Had to take her to the eye doctor on Friday. 100% clean bill of health. She had a problem with her eyes back. Almost lost her left eye. And she did all on her own. 3 months of pure hell. She got herself through it. With a little help from mom and dad and their family.
30.
We just love our little Huey. She's a little Shih Tzu. Shih Tzus. You have one? Smart as a whip, man. I'm telling you. All right, guys, we're coming back. Welcome back, folks. Attorneysonretainer.us. There's my card. There's my lawyer. Goes in my pocket. 4 of them if I have to go to court because I defended myself. And if you live behind the blue wall, it's even more important. Okay, guys? It's that simple. It's $50 off now, not $25 off. And as Jared Yanis was kind enough to inform us, that $50 off now runs through July. Throughout the 4th of July celebration. I thought it was just till June 30th, and it is actually July 31st. So make sure to take advantage of that. Use the promo code AAR. The promo code is AAR. It's simple to do. attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. And take advantage of that. Get this card in your wallet. My son's got it. My daughter's got it. My wife's got it. My dad's got it. My mom's got it. My friends, my neighbors all have it. You need to have it too, because we carry around our attorneys in the form of a card in our pocket. God forbid you have to defend yourself. You're going to want a lawyer because you're going to be under investigation, and that solves the problem right there. They handle it all for you, okay? Don't find yourself hitting yourself in the head saying, man, shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's not going to cut it, guys. It's available for you, and it's $37 a month, and we're going to save you $50 off that sign-up fee. All right, where did we end off? We round off with Ryan. Guys, I want to talk Trump now. Let's talk Trump. Roundtable talks Trump. But we're going to talk about Trump in the form, Brad, of a bunch of left-wing lunatic musician, dirtbag, lefty haters who put their politics above the 250th anniversary of their nation that made them multi-gobzillionaires and protects their right to be idiots. Now, I made this clear before. I don't know who Martina McBride is. I just read the story that she bailed. She was like the 15th or something, Brad, that bailed on Donald Trump's 250th anniversary. The Great American State Fair, I guess what they're calling it. It's going to be a 2 or 3 week-long running deal. And they're hating it. Hillary Clinton's putting up photographs of the cage thing and everything going up and, showing construction at the White House as if no Democrats ever put the White House under construction. In fact, Roosevelt did that. I don't know why she forgets those things. And she doesn't talk about the fact her own husband desecrated the Oval Office on multiple occasions that we are aware of. I'm sure there was likely more that we're unaware of. She's probably unaware of as well. Maybe, who knows? Brad, what's your comment in a very FCC-friendly way again? Because it just makes you so angry. I know you guys think like I do. Justin can't wait to get your response. They just can't put their politics away and celebrate the nation, 250 years of this fantastic country, and that includes Democrat presidents as well. Why? Is it just because Trump's in office? What is it that these people hate so much about the country that made them so rich?
Well, I mean, the problem with these musicians and entertainers is that the industry they're in are run by people who are absolute perverts and disgusting people, okay? We saw this years ago, when the whole Me Too movement kind of backfired on them. It turns out that like 75% of Hollywood are a bunch of rapists and pedophiles, right? And so these are the people that they're still calling the shots for our entertainment. So when you have a musician, no matter what they think, their paycheck still depends on the opinions of some pervert in Hollywood or Nashville or wherever they're headquartered at, telling them, no, I don't think you should do that if you want to keep, getting booked for concerts or albums or whatever it is. And so, the fact that Hillary Clinton is piping up, which is, it's enraging and hilarious at the same time because the woman is lacks so much self-awareness, it's insane. And, the fact that she forgets that just a couple of years ago, Joe Biden had topless trannies running around on the lawn in the White House.
Absolutely right.
As if that's not disgusting, and she's mad because Donald Trump is building a ballroom that's going to be a national asset he's not even going to use for the most part, and so personally, I don't care who performs at this thing. I mean, at this point, I think that what they ought to do is just go out and find some independent artists who want to go out there and make a name for themselves and play some music.
That's a great point.
There's a lot of great musicians out there. Yeah, there's a lot of great musicians out there that they're just waiting for a break. They need some exposure in the system here in Nashville for country music, the system out in L.A. for rock and everything else. Has them locked out for whatever reason because they're not gay, they're not a minority, or they're not communist, or whatever the problem is they have with them out there. They're just not going to get their break. So you know what? Put the call out. Show up. Bring your band. You know what? Here,
That's
open mic. Let's play.
That's a
You
great
See what
point.
happens.
That's a great point. Justin, would you agree with? I mean, that's a great point, Brad. Hadn't even thought about it that way. Justin, that's an awesome thing to do.
Yeah, I think Brad hit the nail right on the head. I mean, President Trump should use his platform to help launch new artists who are patriotic and who love America.
Yeah, but what does it say about them? The irony here, you know, why can't they just, because here's, and I made this comment in the previous hour too, Justin, and I'll ask you this as well, but, or I guess I'll say this, not really ask it, but look, as far as I'm concerned, you're still welcome to show up, you know, if you can grow a pair and put it behind you and celebrate your country, I'd still have you. I don't know that Donald Trump feels that way.
You think that they would, but I think they've become so political these days, and so they don't really want to see America come together. They'd rather have us divide and go at it with each other.
None of this ages well for him, though, does it, Justin?
No, it's not looking good right now for unity in our country.
Yeah, I think when people look back in history at what these people have done, it's not going to look good for them. It's not going to age well for them. Ryan, would you agree with that? And what are your thoughts on these people bailing? Trump's pretty much put a Truth Social post out saying, we'll scrap the whole thing and to hell with them, and I'll have a huge rally. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, look, the left views the entirety of existence through their political lens, right? So everything to them is politics, right? Politics is the height of culture for them. So that's how they view the world. Mark, you and I go to work. We think about family. We think about raising, being good citizens. We think about raising our kids, getting good education, all those things like that. The left doesn't think that way, right? The left thinks everything through the lens of power and authority. That's why we can't get along with these people. That's why we can't have them over for dinner. That's why they won't have us over for dinner, because the conversation can't be about life. It has to be about politics. But my big question was, who was booking these people for President Trump? Milli Vanilli? Young MC? Are we kidding? I mean, I'm glad they're walking away. Young MC, he's not young MC anymore. He's old MC. I mean, he's grandpa MC.
Yeah,
and Milli Vanilli, don't you remember they didn't actually sing their songs? I mean, they had two German guys singing the songs for them. They had to give their Grammys back. I mean, who put them on the bill?
I don't know. That's a great question. Hey, before we go to the end of this program, Justin, I want to go to you. Arms Group Studios. Ryan Petty, thank you for being here. You're traveling. God bless you for being here. Brad Primo, thanks for your insight. I think you nailed it with that one. As far as the entertainers, I hope somebody in the White House is listening, because that's a great idea. Justin Moon, thank you for everything. Guys, we're going to get up and do it again tomorrow because they don't want us to. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. See you on the radio. Hey, guys, we cut the mic there for obvious reasons for the music, but again, we're going to fix that for you. Thanks for all the comments today in here. We appreciate it very much. Please subscribe to us at YouTube. We're asking you to do that. We're begging you to do that. Subscribe to us at YouTube and help us grow that channel. We're growing by, I think the percentage is, 387 to 400% over just the last 90 days alone, and we're doing that because of you. You'll get a couple videos a day. We'll cut these programs up into shorts and all that fun stuff. Then we cut the segments into other stuff. We got other videos working for you. We got a lot in the pipe going on over there. And we thank you for being here. Please visit all of our great partners, our new partners, Cove Pure, covepure.com/AAR. Blackout Coffee. Don't forget Pendleton Safes. These things are beautiful. I saw TX Huntsman in there, Texas Huntsman, who saw those safes over there, and they are absolutely top of the line, guys. If you've ever seen one of these Pendletons, they're the real deal. And tomorrow, we're going to get up and do it again. We'll be on air with Andy Hoosier, the voice of reason, tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. You can do the math anywhere in between. And you can watch us live on YouTube and X tomorrow. You can listen to us on our Listen Live. If you're driving, we don't want you watching. So stay safe out there, guys. Thanks for being here for the MonsterCast. Love you guys. In case nobody's told you that today, I love you. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow. Stay safe, guys. Thanks for being here.